talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. Good thing that I'm a creep when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own. When I fall, I start again, and when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I call, it comes again, and now I see it's in my head. Yeah, there's something that saves me all the time in my head. Yeah, it surfaces when I'm breaking down, like a whisper in my head, coming from out of nowhere, like a whisper in my head, when I got something to share, like a whisper in my head, when I'm unable to speak, coming from somebody else. Now knowing it's just stronger than myself. That's the way I have to live. Now they fall down every night. In the end, I'm not alone, and that's my life. When I fall, I start again. And when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I call, it comes again. And now I see it's in my head. Yeah, there's something that saves me all the time in my head. Yeah, it surfaces when I'm breaking down, like a whisper in my head, coming from out of nowhere, like a whisper in my head, when I got something to share. Thinking that I'm a freak when I'm talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. You could think that I'm a creep when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own. Hey, yeah, there's something that saves me all the time in my head. Yeah, it surfaces when I'm breaking down, like a whisper in my head, coming from out of nowhere, like a whisper in my head, when I got something to share. Yeah.
Simrigs, I know your name. Don't hide from me, 'cause I see all your pain. It's written in your eyes. You and I, we are one. Born in the same. For better or for worse, our dreams are our curse. We are united in our pain. So tell me why we live like angels with no halos, walking blind. Even when you're on your own, you don't walk alone. I'm by your side.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Simrigs Sprint Series, Season 17 here at Octane Online Racing. We're here for the first round at Brands Hatch Motor Racing Circuit in West Kingstown, Kent. It's opened in 1950. This track is 3.9 kilometers long and 9 turns to boot. We're starting off the first round of the season and the exciting season for the rest of the championship here with split yellow followed by split green later tonight. Joining me tonight is Sean Brimblecombe and Brent Sykes on the comms, as well as Neil Alexander behind the cameras. Lads, how are we doing tonight?
Really, really good. Yeah, excited for another season of Sprint Series. It's going to be a real fiery start with the double race format, 20-minute and 40-minute races tonight. And I believe is it reverse top 10 as well for the second grid?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
There we
Should
go.
be very interesting. Yeah.
How have you been finding Brands Hatch, Mr. Sykes?
Pretty good. I haven't done a ton of laps here, but it is a pretty good driver's circuit. I have enjoyed it so far. So yeah, I think it's going to be makes for some good racing and should be a great event.
Yep. We also have LFM Bob running for this season as well, so there'll be small adjustments, added weight reductions for certain cars to try and bring them all into a nice, more even line and for a much more fairer championship. Well, you can see we're dominated by a Ferrari and McLaren fest on the grid. So, but yep, we still got a few oddballs out there, a few Porsches, Astons, Nissans, and BMWs, and a Bentley to boot as well. Lovely.
Definitely, it's going to be interesting now that there's been so many changes over the last couple of updates. So this is our first season back with the LFM BOP. So it'll be interesting to see how the balance is and how all the different cars perform now with their new penalties and weight taken off, etc., etc. Definitely a lot of Ferraris though. It is split Ferrari this evening. Maybe that's why it's split yellow. Yellow of the Ferrari badge, going strong.
Yeah, Fiorano yellow. The official colour of today. It's me on board with Jacob Max, a well-known Ferrari driver. I haven't seen him drive many other machines since his 296 got added last year, but on for a good outlap. You know, first initial runs, he'll be the first one to time a lap if he hasn't invalidated, which I don't believe he is going in by his current pace. I'll be interested to get a ballpark for what we can expect tonight. I'm guessing low 20s if anything, maybe 23, 22, even dare say lower maybe.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to see anybody lower than a 22. That's some pretty wicked pace. But hey, never knows. Jacob Maggs first across the line with a 24.0. Seems to be holding at the moment, but we'll see as more cars coming across the line. Seems to be
Very good bank lap.
Yeah, that's definitely a good start. Takes a couple. I feel like it takes a couple laps to get everything up to temperature at Brands Hatch, since it's a bit of a short track, especially since there's a lot of right-hand corners. Just lots of turning right. As we get Maddox first into the 23s with a 23.7. I definitely think that's I want to see somebody in the 22s, hopefully.
I think we will. Whether it's in this split, not too sure. As straight into the first of the new season, we've got a new a first name to make us a fumble at the first hurdle, straight into the start of the new broadcast. Not even a few minutes in, but I'm gonna go with Matthew Spinazzi as in the BMW, doing a job. Definitely not on AM. Definitely seen him in other races. Definitely very quick as he tries not to get upset by, I think, another car that went into the wall just ahead. BMW, definitely not a slow car, but dare say looking a little bit ragged right now. And I'm sure it's probably going to still improve. But a very high energy circuit, as we all know, and a great livery as well, supporting the Starlight Children's Foundation.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult track to master. It's a lot of fun in the sense that great hot lap track, but I'm interested to see how the racing is because I don't know, just with my limited experience on public lobbies, it's a bit of a goat track when it comes to trying to go side by side, and yeah, I guess we'll just have to see how everybody goes this evening. Couple of liveries seem to be missing since the livery bot was taking a bit of a nap this afternoon, but we've still got some showing up and pretty cool so far.
Yeah, I think with there's a lot of elevation changes and off-camber corners and blind apexes and that sort of stuff at Brand, so that could potentially make for some exciting viewing, whether that's from contact or the guys trying to get around each other. Should make the race very fun, I think.
How have you guys fared with this circuit? Like, I've always quite enjoyed this circuit, but I found it one of the most technically challenging circuits to really nail, and also to kind of keep your composure over a race as well, because you're a little bit wide in certain cars, and it'll just spit you out pretty badly.
Yeah, it's I made the smart decision of changing cars one day before my race, so I'm relearning.
That's Benjamin Hignett.
Yeah, just to ruin Benjamin Hignett's day. But he's a sucker for pain. He loves making a good livery, especially the obnoxious ones that we come up with for Pit Motorsports. But yeah, I did a few laps in the Porsche and absolutely minced my GTR PB. So
How
just
much did Sean Muller pay you?
he didn't pay me anything. I've just got the same first name as him, so it kind of rubs off, you know.
Sorry, Scene Muller.
Scene Miller, Scene Bribblecombe. It's all the same.
Oh, he's in chat. Fancy that. Do hit the like button, especially not for any of my commentary at the very least, but for the broadcast. And we do appreciate it, and it helps us out of support the boys and girls here behind the scenes at OOR. But yeah, not surprised you went quicker than the GTR. It's I love that car, but it's definitely not the sharpest tool.
Definitely not. How about yourself?
I switched away from the Porsche, so maybe there's
yep.
eye for an eye if that's anything.
There's only a limited stock of Porsches available each season, and so for somebody to come in, somebody else has to get out.
Yeah.
Bit of a higher turnover rate.
I went to the Audi charity of sad broken cars.
Goodness me. As we're looking at the times, they've dropped significantly. We're now down to a 23.2, so we're knocking on the doors of that 22, possibly a 22.9 tonight would be a pretty cool thing to see. With 4 minutes left in qualifying and the track ramping up as more and more people turn laps, I'm sure we'll get a chance. Oh, that's a big save from Steele there. Lost all of his delta, and he's probably going to just build a bit of a gap there. Go again for a second bite at the cherry, as it was.
Mag's not far away from that 22 and a 23.292 as well, and it's nice to see I think that's two Mercedes now actually in this split. As Mercedes proving to be a car that's not to everyone's flavor, to say the least, but nice to see a couple of them out there. Probably not the best track for this car as well, so but still any result can be had.
Definitely, it's a bit of an interesting car to set up and drive. It's very picky with its setups and general just driving styles, a bit different from what you would expect being a front engine car. But when you can get it set up properly and get that thing really going, it is a quick car, especially with the non-existent floor. It just eats bumps like a champ, and especially around here there's quite a few bumps, so not a bad pick for the first round of the season. And I think I'm correct in saying this. We're the naturally aspirated commentary team this evening, aren't we? Because you said earlier you're in the Audi and I'm in the Porsche, and Brent Sykes, you're driving the Lamborghini, if I'm not mistaken.
I am. I've moved from the Porsche from last season. My AM skills weren't good enough to wrangle the car, so I've moved across to the Lambo. This should be good.
How are you finding it? I'm a big fan of the Lamborghini. I need to get back into it at some point.
Yeah, very good. I haven't had a ton of laps. I've been focusing on Nord since the DLC in another car, but yeah, it's quite nice to drive. Not as inclined to kill you as I've found the Porsche, which is great. Maybe I'll survive a full race without going off.
Oh, don't curse yourself yet.
But maybe.
We'll see. But yeah, no, it's 100% correct. The Porsche is a bit of a murder weapon when it comes to trying to drive it sometimes. But when you get it just
Yeah.
right, it's definitely one of the more interesting cars to drive. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm a bit two minds about my choice. I don't think I was really gelling with the Porsche that well, but unfortunately I've got to a car which is probably going to be heavily blocked for the rest of the season because one esports driver does one amazing lap with it, and therefore it gets taken around the barn and shot, unfortunately, the Audi. So I think I'm going to have weight added for the whole season, despite having a horrible car underneath.
Definitely, yeah. It's one of the more difficult cars to get time out of, but it's got that extremely high skill ceiling. So if you're able to get those top level times, you can. Oh, well, if you can wrangle the beast that is the Audi, it
It's
is.
almost like we bopped just because over one lap instead of a whole stint.
That's why I always have a laugh when I see a Ferrari with negative bop because I know that thing's going to be drinking even less fuel than it usually does over a stint.
Yes. I'm going to be in for a rough season now, think about it. But anyway, enough bop discussion. I'm sure it's already been done to death, and will be done to death in the future as well. As we follow McDowell onto the penultimate corner, going up to the last corner into Clark, clearways into Clark Curve from the older Indy circuit. We're a little bit of a rear stepping away on the early part of the corner, but catches up, but probably lost a few Ks of velocity down the end. Oh, there we go. It's our lovely lone Bentley in the field, and Maddox is probably going to be ruined if he catches that in time. It's the last run. He's 2 tenths up. He's nailed this corner. The car ahead hasn't nailed the corner. He needs to not catch them too quickly and not get distracted at all. But he's on for a good. He's lost about a 10, but starts to get only a little bit back with the exit out of Sterling. We'll see where this might place him. It might be good enough for potentially P3. It's staying on dead. Maybe lost a few thousands, but up one place into P4, which is still a solid result to start off the season. The leading McLaren, I believe, in the Maddox.
Definitely, it's pretty tight at the top. Top 9, almost top 10 within 6/10 of a second. It's not bad. It's kind of expected though when most of the grid is the same car, and definitely some very good pilots of these vehicles behind me here tonight. See a few familiar faces in my old stomping grounds. I've moved to blue this season because I could not race this evening, but yeah, this is gonna be a interesting, spicy first race.
Well, good lap by Webb. They went from P9 to P5 with just 1500s in the banker as well. So it shows you how tight the whole top of the field has been. But pole goes to Mags in the 86 Ferrari, followed by Steele in the other 996 Ferrari. But good to see there's still a little bit of a, well, there's 2 McLarens in there. There's a BMW. It's just another 7 Ferraris in that top 10. But, we'll gloss over that. We won't look at it. The 1 kilo definitely makes it OP. The minus 1 kilo.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, so your top 10,
I don't
Mags.
think that's actually been updated, for instance. So
Oh,
we'll gloss over that because a bit of
yeah, I don't know what's going on. But we've got your top
LFM,
10
make up your
tonight
mind.
is Megs, Steele, Spinazzi, Maddox, Webb, Jones, Walsh, Morimura, Bubnow, and Kumar. Your top 10. And I think because of the livery bot doing its thing today. I think a few of the classes are incorrect. Last time I checked, Sean Bubnow, Spinazzi, and Walsh were definitely not AM drivers. They are pretty quick individuals.
Nah, Sean Bob now. Never heard of him before. Brand new to sim racing. Definitely not the old Sean Bob now with a new wheel. I believe it's probably his first run back since I think he had a broken pin, if I recall, a few seasons ago. So, but it's his first race back. Welcome back. It's great to see you here. But definitely not an AM driver. Peach
Definitely
would
not.
say he's a pro driver, I believe.
He's gone from race director. He's been promoted to race driver now in split yellow.
Absolutely. So race 1, 20-minute short, fast sprint race to get them started, and then the top 10 from race 1 will make up the top 10 for race 2, but in reverse order, and we'll have a short qualifying to determine from a P10 down for race 2's grid as well. But there's a lot to play for still in the race 1, still points on the board. Might want to try and get them. There's no point banking on race 2 if your race 1 goes badly. Race 2 could very easily go back just as badly. So you need points when it counts, and you got to take the opportunities as they are in front of you. There's no point leaning ahead to the future.
Definitely. You see, there's two winning positions in this race. You've got P1, obviously the person that wins the race, but then also the prize for P10 of race 2 pole, which I don't know if people are going to be, doing any silly billy maneuvers trying to get P10 over like P9 or something like that, but it's definitely going to be seeing some intense fighting in that sort of P11 to 13 range, trying to get that P10, that second race pole, because we have a reverse top 10 for the second race, which honestly I think breeds some of the best racing as the faster people head back through the field. It can be pretty spicy.
Definitely a very difficult track to make a move. You have to be very decisive here. You need to get it done. You need to be on it. You have to get the car there. You have to be assertive with whatever move you make. You can't really have to make any half measures, because there's not a lot of room for error here. And when there is, there's going to be a lot of time lost, and then a lot of people going to be coming through as well. So it's going to be tricky. We've seen also, I think, in Brands Hatch races, to be honest, the first corner going through and then into Druid's hairpin as well can be very contested. Can be a lot of potential for a lot of broken bodywork, I will say as well. And we'll see how split yellow. We're all watching you. The first out of the box, first off the line, and you got to set the example for the rest of the splits.
Yeah, definitely. Just from my previous experiences, split yellow's usually been on pretty good behavior, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. Like you said, skinny track. As we come through the final corner here, lining up side by side. Mag, Steele, Spinazzi, Maddox, and Webb. See if this McLaren and Beamer can take advantage of the Ferrari's poor starting performance and make a move going into turn 2.
Go.
As we get the green flag, and the Ferrari of Mags has gone on a pretty good run, but Steele's going to hold it out on the outside, and that is a really good start from the Ferraris. Side by side, a little bit wide there for... I don't know.
It's Maddox out wide, I think. Not up, sorry, it's someone else. It's Webb, I believe. He's lost a heap of positions there. Side by side for Maddox and Spinazzi. And Spinazzi, there's a small touch and onto the grass. As that's not going to be too well looked upon by the stewards. And Spinazzi is now under threat from Webb. I apologize, in the blue Ferrari, the other red Rebel Racing Ferrari. And now going side by side, might lose out to a drag race on the Ferrari, but he's still got the inside line, and I think Spinazzi is going to be like, I'm not losing any more positions, as that's very loose from Morimura, and he does a very good job to catch it, but he gets twanged off and into the barriers for the 28 car, and that's really unfortunate. Takes out a whole bunch of boarding, so we've got some more cars off as well. Ash Walsh in the 113. Thankfully, it seems like most of everyone else has kind of managed to avoid him, but there was some carnage. It was quite clean first couple of corners, and Jackson, Steele, and Mags have kind of escaped up the road.
That was a huge hit. Absolutely massive impact there. So that's going to be some pretty serious damage. In a 20-minute race, you're probably not going to be able to earn back that time. So as we go across the start-finish line, there's been a few movements and positions just from that contact, but overall not a lot of movement around for position other than Maddox getting by Spinazzi in the top 10. Kind of worried that it's going to turn into a bit of a follow the leader type deal as we look behind to see
Jacob Fleming.
Yeah, catching a little bit too much of that grass. But if there's one thing that the Bentley can do is accelerate out of a corner. Is it going to be pulling away? Yep. See you later, Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's great.
Some rejoice for the Bentley boys. There's a few of them across the few splits. There's a bit more now with some custom BOP, which might assist it as well, which is nice to see some cars not be left by the wayside by who knows. But you can see, I think there's a Slade, no slow operator as well, but Ferrari definitely are much more comfortable cars, I think, through these those fast sort of free left-handers that make up the back section, which make up the meat of this circuit, in my opinion, that you have to really commit to. And a little bit loose on the exit. Another kind of trait from the Bentleys, not the easiest car to get on power, with sort of a weird wide rear diff axle. Stockton here on the back of Slade as well. There's a little bit of concertina effect, kind of yo-yoing back and forth. But yeah, it's all going to be a bit of follow the leader, but maybe Slade getting a little bit stuck behind Fleming. Needs to be patient. He's got the speed. Needs to do it right, and a few of those off tracks like that might result in a drive-through. You think we'll see some drive-throughs? Maybe not in this race, but maybe more in the latter race, where the race is a little bit longer. As we got Spinazzi, forget that we got Spinazzi going on Webb into that's going a bit. Oh, it's a big ass to go from on the outside, and yeah. Just falls into that's Jacob Mags actually. Sorry, Mako is pulling back, and oh my goodness, as Webb has got up the inside, he's missed his braking marker. And clatters Spinazzi, but thankfully keeps it going, and not too much damage other for Webb, the offending party himself. Oh my goodness,
that was close. That could have been 2 of the top 5 out of the race, just like that. But somehow they managed to keep it together. Thankfully, Kunos
must have had a moment at some point, because he was leading ahead of Steele, and then unfortunately he's dropped back to even Spinazzi. So, oh dear. But race not over.
No, definitely not. It is all go this evening. I think if you're managing to get a DT in a 20-minute race, you're doing a pretty good job. I mean, to be fair, it is a pretty short lap, so there are a few laps in a 20-lap race, but yeah.
You never know, the adrenaline being in the pack, seeing the car as close as it is in front of you, you can just, particularly at this corner, I feel like this is where you get a lot of drive-through limits very easily by just pushing more and more again on that power early, I find. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's impossible, put it that way. So we go for a replay now, as you see, it was, oh no, sorry, this is from the opening lap, as that Morimura is the catch, and then is it Jones into Morimura? So he just caught the car and then got unfortunately flinged off. He thought he was safe, but it's unfortunately not the case. But he's got another race to make up for it. As Collins and the Aston Martin clattering the inside of the curb at I believe that is Westfield, and yeah, McDowell going through in the Porsche, one of the few Porsches in this split.
I think he might be the only Porsche in this split, holding up the honour of the old reindeer single-handedly.
Absolutely.
So look back from Webb on Kumar and that awesome Indian flag style. I'm a big fan of that.
I
Definitely.
thought it was Ireland colours initially.
I mean, they
and
both
then
start
I
with
realised
I.
who was driving.
Yeah, they both start with I, and that's where the similarities end.
I mean, they're the same
as nations.
colours.
Yeah, true.
It's interesting to see Fleming's kind of broken away from Slade a bit and is kind of maybe looking a bit more on the offensive to Kumar, but all still a bit line formation right now. It takes a mistake to really make a move, I think, here, or a hell of a run.
Yeah, definitely, especially in a car. You know, there's a lot of Ferraris in the field, and the Ferrari, it doesn't do well at, you know, taking advantage of, you know, sort of opponents when you get a better run, because you get a really good run out of the Ferrari. It's still not that amazing because it takes 1 to 2 working days for you to get boost on tap from that thing. So,
I think that's Jones.
I think that was Jones, and he was, yep, that is Jones, car
88.
number 88. That is unfortunate for him. As we
Oh, he's already a bit wide there.
having a look. Is he just going to clip a little bit of the outside? Yep. Yep, just a little bit of that outside grass, and then see you later. Luckily, though, no contact with the wall, so he'll have no damage at least. Though he's going to lose a lot of positions.
Yep.
Very good.
Done a
Good
good
on
job.
him, though. Yeah, good on him for waiting his turn. That's one of the things that you need to learn sooner rather than later with racing, is just to wait for your chance to rejoin the circuit. As we go on board with Webb, and oh, yep, you can't blame him too much for seeing that door open, but it's always going to close at that corner. It's a pretty brutal turn in there. So I think that one he will learn from for the next race. He's quite lucky to not have had a bigger accident there. As we look at Jack Steele, current race leader, 23.675 is the fastest is his fastest lap so far. I would love to see what the fastest lap so far this race was. I didn't see it when it popped up just before. But he's doing a pretty decent job with Maddox about 2 seconds behind. Oh, there we go. A 123.1. He knew we were watching.
Just going faster and faster out there. Has anyone caught your eye out there, Brent? Anyone you keeping an eye on, standing out from the crowd?
Yeah, there's some little battles going on further down in the pack. You can see we've got Taplin and Marsh seem to look like they're pretty close together. There's been some pressure for a while. We're talking about Webb and Kumar earlier. They're both teammates, so it could be interesting how that shakes out later on in the race. Make sure they don't have any contact.
Absolutely. Oh no! Slade has got
no.
the inside of Fleming and a double pirouette spin to boot for both of them. Oh no!
Oh,
Might have been a day later, a dollar short, but we'll see on the instant replay. Thank you, Neil. As Fleming gets a little bit wide and loose on the exit, so it's going to be slow. He goes to the right, and Slade's there. You know, he kind of just waits until he breaks first, and that might be a smidge late, I think. And I'm sure the stewards will be looking at that regardless.
Definitely, yeah, that's before the turn-in point, so you'll probably be getting a slap on the wrist for that one. Yeah, just not alongside enough to make that move valid, so Fleming and Slade will have to fight their way back through. So,
no, it's not great, but you're still in P14s, Fleming, so it's not too terrible. I'm surprised they only dropped back that far, to be honest, but I think there's a bit of a split in the field.
Yeah, there's a bit of spread. Quite interesting. Quite a tight sort of pack in the top, just for that top 10 position, and then kind of quite spread out everywhere else. But this is that battle for the coveted start of the reverse grid spots. Sakanias. Yeah. He is currently in that prize spot, and McDowell probably wants to take it off him if he can manage to catch up and try and force a move. Because a great way to start the next 40-minute race is being at the front step of the grid in that front pit box. It's not bad.
You feel like you might be speaking from a little bit of experience there, Sean, from last year.
I do love
right?
me a
Or
good.
last season.
I do love me a good a good reverse grid race. They've
Yeah.
saved my bacon a couple times as well.
Ah, yes. Silverstone Race 2 winner, the Sean Brooklyn. World famous.
World famous. Oh, come on, guys. No, I think that race was amazing, but my favorite has definitely got to be the Paul Ricard race where I got
And you had the cheat to
qualifying
still
match.
classify yourself as silver this season.
Yeah. I mean,
The cheek.
we'll see. I'm in a new car. I don't know if I'm still going to be as quick. The Ferrari's a lot easier to drive than the Porsche. Spent a bit more time in the Ferrari, so we shall see. But enough about me. As we go on board with Stockton, getting hounded by Sean Bubnow and Sakanias. And it's tight. This is definitely going to be some feisty battles because these guys all want to be at the front of that reverse grid. This provides a great opportunity, especially around a track like Brands Hatch, for a bit of an alternative winner. I reckon.
They've built themselves a bit of a battle pack up here, all four cars. We've got the Ferrari and Porsche sandwiched into the McLarens in the middle, all within about 5/10 of each other, battling for that 10th position.
It's really easy to overstretch the tires in those fast sections. As the sort of balance goes from that, you get the grip at the front axle on turning, then suddenly you kind of need the rear axle to kind of grip up, because I find, like, especially as the camber starts to fall away and you see how close they get to the edges of the track, it's so easy just to dip a tire or just have the rear start to overtake you as well on certain cars with certain balances. Is why I'm kind of sweating already at the thought of my Audi going through some of those corners. And, you know, pushing it too hard on a few laps can just lead to that tire being a little bit too hot, and, you know, it can just add to the you know, a little bit more of a slide, and then, you know, you catch a slide and that tire's getting even hotter and hotter and hotter, and then you're a bit like Albon in the Williams at Albert Park the other year, and you just loop it around.
It's definitely one of the spicier choices, especially around here, Brands Hatch. It's a pretty slippery. It feels like a bit of a slipperier circuit than most, probably more because of those off camber corners. We saw there was a penalty there for the car 277, so that's sadly going to demote him out of that P10 position, as we
They'll be
see
loving that.
a penalty for Robert Maddox, car 765, 10-second penalty for that lap one. Oh, so that contact. I would assume that is with Spinazzi near the start of the race.
Yeah, so all kind of it was a clean start, and then the second half of the lap it all kind of went to, you know, I'm trying to remember the incident in question, but yes, the Stewart obviously slammed over in that one, as Mike Crick has got Jones up the inside. Is he gonna hold it? No, he kind of backs out. He didn't realize he didn't have enough purchase there, and sensibly backs out of it. But, great to see Cricket in the GTR, and sticking it on for another season as well. I thought he'd switch after he kind of yeah, I think he wanted to break for the GTR, but then the bot kind of favoured things a little bit and brought it back a little bit in the last few updates. But I'm ready to switch away. I'm surprised Cookie is a long-standing tragic of the GTR, which we'll ask him all about when he comes to commentate Split Green later tonight. I believe he is coming around there, and as the 165 goes for a spin as well. I believe that was the car that was in front of Sakanias at the time. That was P9. I'm not sure who that was at the time. Unfortunately, Livery Bot. We'll blame Livery Bot.
Mr. Bub now. That is a real shame. It's a almost picture perfect incident that Nick Jones had just before. So we ride on board with the 88 and 87, battling hard. I'm a big fan of the liveries on these two cars. They're good looking cars. Of the few liveries we have available to this evening, it's a very high quality. Ooh, that is a big snap And that's
Well, they caught the ladder up with that.
that was a close save. Wowee. And
Webb
so
now with a penalty as well, who's I believe he's well down the field, but Daniel Webb, well, it's come up on this on the message board, but there we go. It's been applied in game.
yep, that I assume that is for the contact with Mags coming into.
Yeah, into this corner
Yeah.
early in the race. It was a bit I reckon he just missed his braking mark more, if anything. And a little bit in the moment. Anthony Malili, Malil, I do apologize. And the 4-4-6 15-second penalty as well for another misdemeanor. Definitely getting most of these penalties out already in the first race, so good thing we've got another race to get even more penalties. Maddox and P2. Looks like he's going to lose that P2 to back to Mags. It'll be interesting to see maybe we can in the chat discussion later in the sprint chat room find out what happened to Mags, because obviously he was ahead of Steele at the start of the race and then dropped back into the clutches of Spinazzi. Spinazzi's been going all right. I think he's doing a good job. I don't think the Beamer is probably as on form maybe as the Ferrari and McLaren, even with some BOP, but then kept his nose clean where he can. If anything, I think trouble's been attracted to him, if anything.
Yeah, definitely he's had a bit of a rough start, getting pushed wide, and just lost a couple positions because of it. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the strongest track for the BMW. Oh, as we see,
That's really why.
a little bit of a rally line there for the Bentley. That is a bit spicy, but keeping in it. So we're having a look at.
Oh, thank you, Neil.
Oh, we've found it.
Oh, just a bit wide. Wasn't much.
Yeah.
Maybe is there a part 2 to this? Because I'm going to say Steele's a bit too far back to make a move from this. Too much inside. Yep, bottomed out and caught it.
That is, yeah, just a little bit of pressure at the wrong time, and it's just lost the lead for him. And
Yeah, that's how little it takes, like just to lose the momentum, and then suddenly you got people all over you as well. Like it's crazy how just intense this circuit is. It's so high energy, and
definitely, as we got still on board with Jacob Fleming. Oh, another big squeal. Those tires are not happy at all. So we go on board once again with
another
Mags.
follow-up. A little bit squirrely on the inside curve, and gave Maddox a run into Surtees' corner. Oh, but there was a little touch as well. I think maybe that's what Maddox's penalty might have been attributed from, because it puts him into the clutches of Spinazzi, and then I think it led later to Webb's unfortunate misbraking marker.
Yes, definitely a spicy battle in that top 5. It's been good to see. I always love to see some good close racing, and it's going to be even more exciting in the next race as well, race 2.
Right now, McDowell in the 213 Porsche is sitting nice and tight for that reverse pole position. And I'm sure I'll make Mr. Muller very happy down in Stuttgart. But yes, that said, she's got Walsh all over him, because I thought he had a 4.5 second gap. What happened? The timing board clearly screwed me over again.
Something's going on here.
It says 4.5 seconds there, right, between Walsh and McDowell. But
as they go side by side. Oh,
Oops.
this is going to be no. It's just going to let that one slide, but he's far out. That Porsche was on the edge there.
I
Now
apologize. That's Stockton falling back. It wasn't Walsh at all. That's what happened. I think it's Stockton and the Penrite Oils car is actually falling back and given those 2 positions. But a little bit hairy there as Sakanius and McDowell follow nose to tail again, as they pretty much have been the whole race.
Yeah, some
was a
pretty
bad run.
brutal fighting. I think maybe this 20 minutes, just everybody's killed their tyres a bit pushing, and so going through a little bit of a slippery tyre phase.
It's the final lap.
Yeah, it's the final lap of the race. This is going to go down to the wire as we
I
go.
was Stockton, I wouldn't do anything. I'd just stay where I am because I'm reverse grid pole. But well done to Steel, the man of Steel, going for it and taking the win here. And a split yellow round 1, race 1, followed by Maddox, Mags, and Spinazzi, but a few penalties to be applied, to say the least. Buskakovas as well. Quiet race. We didn't see him the whole race.
He definitely made some positions though. I don't remember where he started, but it was definitely out of the top 10. So
Yeah, exactly.
to get to P5 out of the top 10 with almost no camera time is quite amazing. Really clean little drive as Fleming and Collins come across the line, P12 and 13, and Slade and Bub now.
I think Sakanis is going to get dropped out of the top 10 with that, judging by how tight it was behind him.
Definitely, and I think Webb as well. Webb is definitely going to be out of the top 10, so that is super unfortunate. And Slade, there's the penalty that we were expecting for the contact with Fleming earlier.
That might put Walsh in a provisional reverse grid pole, or it could be even Fleming. But
Even
we'll
Fleming,
wait and see.
I think Fleming might just miss out. No, I think Fleming's in.
It's going to be really close if it is.
I think he's in. I think he's in.
If the Kunos timing board timings are reliable, we shall see. But we'll get confirmation.
There he is.
There he is. Never a shadow in doubt. There we go. Certainty. Fleming gets reverse grid pole in the Bentley. And well done again to Steel Mag Spinazzi for that top 3 in the grid. But, a few penalties. I think a bit more drama in that than I would have liked to see for race 1. I thought, but maybe they'd have to get out of their systems, and they're definitely not going to keep doing the same for the rest of the season. Probably not.
Yeah, that is a spicy way to get the top 10 into the top 10. Couple penalties. That is very nice. He's had an exciting, more than enough excitement for 2 races. So I'm hoping for Darty's sake that it's a bit quieter for him, because that was all go. There's lots of moves, all sorts of stuff going on. Now this qualifying session determines who is in P11 onwards. So pole in this session is basically P11. So you still get points, still get qualifying points for these laps, but yeah, P11 and down as the top 10 is already determined from the previous race. So it's quite cool to see some other people fighting for the pole position, obviously because the top 10 quickest drivers on the day have managed to sneak their way through already. Who do you think is going to be securing pole or getting into those top positions for this session?
A bit of a short session, only 8 minutes, so anyone can kind of pull something out in that amount of time. It's a little bit different to if you're running at a longer track where you may only get 2 or 3, but the minute 22 to minute 25 sort of lap times gives everyone a good opportunity to get some laps in.
Definitely, and for your strategy, would you just fuel it up for one big long, one not long, but one session, do all your laps in one go, or would you try and fuel it up and come back to the pits and kind of do the usual 1 lap flying sort of thing?
Yeah, going for a full fuel load might not be a bad idea, because it seems to take 2 or 3 laps to get the tyres up, the pressure and temp. But yeah, I'd probably go maybe like 5 minute and then just a final 3 minute hurrah if I could, get the banker in before that. But I'm sure that there'll be guys out there trying different strategies.
Definitely, there's a lot of different options and a lot of different manufacturers as well. So we've got it's just 2 Ferraris and an sorry, not Esteban. What am I saying? GTR. As we go on board with Kafil Slade, the LD Carpentry entry. Maybe that is not how you do the lap, but that's okay. You've got 4 more minutes to do some better ones.
One of the shortest laps on the grid here. Definitely before Red Bull Ring was added, it was the shortest lap. Now it's been usurped on that front. Car ahead is wide, very wide. It's got to be at the barrier. It's got to distract him too.
Gosh.
That was Jones as well. I was going to say Jones one to watch probably for this. He qualified highly despite having a horrid race. But also above now. Another one as well, boys. Rallycross is next week.
Yeah, I mean, well, Brands Hatch is a rallycross circuit.
Yep. Famous, originally a rallycross. Although they got rid of the old rallycross section. It used to be here, like after Druid, and you go left now, and it'll be like a rallycross track. But it's all gone now. Sad.
If you played
Toka Race Cars.
Toka Race Driver 2, yeah, or
V8
probably better
Supercars,
known,
as it's known, yeah.
V8 Supercars 2.
Had that track in it. That's the only way I know it.
Yeah, such a good track. Real fun.
Good question for chat. What was the first game that you discovered or drove Brands Hatch in? Because I think that would have been V8 Supercars 2 or whatever it was for me.
I think probably one of the original Toka games on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I think there may have been brands on a Toka demo disc for the old PlayStation when that was a thing, where it might be my first time playing brands.
Back when you got demos in cereal.
Yeah, and magazines and cereal boxes. It was a great time.
Where did we go wrong?
Yeah, I see a couple Toka ones and Toka 2s and ACC
Maybe Toka
there.
2's the...
Yeah, ACC is not bad to only be driving it now. It's
I
gotta
don't think it's
start
even been
somewhere.
in many Forza games or Gran Turismo's even. It's actually been quite niche. A weirdly specific circuit. I believe it's part of the MSV group now, which is owned by, or is run by Jolyon Palmer's dad, Jonathan Palmer, ex-Formula 1 driver. I believe they own this track, Brands Hatch, and this track is Brands Hatch, sorry. Alton Park and Snetterton as well.
Is that why the logos are always the same? Like
Yeah,
that
all the-
logo.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of generic. It's not the MSV logo specifically, but it's sort of like the logo of like all their own tracks. They're a bit like, maybe they're a bit like Tony Quinn, just like collecting all these tracks around the.
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Oh, there we go.
Ah, lovely. Oh, the DTM with the CLKs, the TTRSs, the Opals. And it had a career mode back when games had a career mode. You had your mechanic Scotty and stuff like that. I remember.
And a career mode with a decent story, no less. Same with Race Driver 1. I miss the feeling of progression in racing games nowadays. Of course, like not counting multiplayer and stuff, but you just don't have any good single player experiences nowadays. It's all just about grinding. It's not about sort of easing you through different kinds of cars. It's like the old Gran Turismo games. You start off with like a Japanese nugget, and then you slowly build up until you're able to afford Japanese Super GT cars and things like that. What is it?
It is very different these days.
Yeah.
Usually, you start the game up after you've downloaded 120 gigs of updates. You've already got your pajama skin thing for your avatar and 15 wheel spins, and you've already been, before you've even driven a mile, you've been given 15 Ferraris as well.
Definitely.
I do miss the early days of Forza where you did start in something like a Yaris.
Yeah, the Yaris Cups, and then you stick a turbo on it to make it competitive for a bit longer.
It needs most. Early days.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Yes.
Cars
Yeah.
Australia race driver.
Phillip Island, we still got that. Bathurst, yep. Oran Park, no. Eastern Creek, the proper name for that track. I'm not calling it what the other thing is. Sandown, Adelaide, Canberra. Canberra? I don't remember Canberra.
Yep, the GMC 400 in Canberra. The truck was shaped like a drill, I remember.
I just remember Oran Park and the fact that it's gone. Anyway, there's been a
rest in peace,
qualifying session.
Pukekohe.
Oh yeah, Pukekohe, another nail in the coffin.
Well,
But-
it is that, yeah, we've kind of taken a trip down memory lane, and before you know it, qualifying's over. And we've got Morimura with a 23.3. It's a fantastic lap. Not going to improve on this one. I think he's pulled out of that one there. So with the top five, most of the top five are in the pits. It's up to
That's
George.
why.
Oh, that is, yep. That's going to be that for top
It's just
five.
Nick Jones. Willie Golf as well. Let's try not to curse him, even though it's too late. I've already said it.
Oh,
Good
7
amount of
tenths
entry.
up. That is definitely going to make some moves in this field. As it's very tight all the way to
So
P1.
provisionally he's P21 because he's got a 10 cars where he is now. So needs to really go forward, not go wide like he has been for the last few laps. Tucks it in nicely, gets a good run to the line, 9/10 up. It's going to put him P4 on the grid for P14 overall.
That's a pretty decent effort, I must say. So, looking at your P11 onwards, we've got Morimura, Slade, Bubnow, Jones, Sakanias, Webb, Sweeney, Maili? My apologies. Bishop and Collins rounding out your top 20. There's a lot of cars on track this evening. It's good to see Sprint Series is back in force, and so the top 10 are going to make their way through the grid and join the start of the queue, and then we will commence our formation lap in about 2 minutes or so.
Yep, as the race director will organise it, they'll call them out number 9 number in the correct order, and hopefully present a nice straight line, which never happens with these reverse grids. But should be very interesting. Got a fairly medium-sized field tonight, and I think that's what you want, really, to be honest, with Brands Hatch. It is not a big circuit. I've been in a race here with 50 cars. It was horrific. It's definitely not a lot of room to breathe. But yep, 40-minute race, no stops, same conditions pretty much as last race. It's been 20 ambient, around 28 track. A nice sunny day, no threat of any weather, and optimum grip out there for everyone. So there's no excuses. Ah, yes. I was about to give it away. I think the top right gives it away, if anything. But I know what it is.
I know this one.
I know the sound of that thing in the top right ingrained into my brain when you got it wrong.
Little hint, if you still don't know what it is, I wish there was a decent Xbox emulator so that you could play it on modern hardware. It would be so. It's one of my favorite games from back in the day.
This was Microsoft's go-to racing studio before Turn 10 showed up with Forza Motorsport. And as soon as they did, these guys basically got axed.
Not seeing any.
Come on, chat.
Nobody in chat's got it.
Wakey, wakey.
This is making me
They're all,
feel
they're all
old.
Gran Turismo people. Sure, it must be the case. My day is ruined. My disappointment. My
Pretty glaring result indeed.
pretty glaring.
There we go. Finally, it's Stuvro. Yep, it's Project Gotham. Project Gotham Racing.
Well done. You've won. Neil Alexander's old Xbox copy that's had the doggy in it. Man, I remember trading in all my Xbox games into EB games, and I got like barely $10 for like 30 games.
Yeah, now they're kind of worth holding on to. I don't think I've gotten rid of any of my old copies of games. I just need to dig the old Xbox out, probably give it a blowout, and it'll be all ready to go. I don't know if I can plug it in to modern TVs easily, but I might have to try and find a way to play PGR now that Mel's so nicely reminded me of his existence. What an epic arcade racer is the best. And the grids have kind of split up. They need to put the hammer down and catch back up to the top 10. This back 11 are going to have slightly nicer tires, maybe being able to drive a bit harder than the rest of them. But oh, they managed to catch up. That's good. So we have Jacob Fleming in the mighty Boatley leading the grid. That definitely wasn't on my bingo card. I did not think that the Boatley would be anywhere near the top, but hey.
I didn't think it was gonna happen when he was fencing backwards in a spin.
That too, yeah.
Into Surtees' corner, but turns out they had enough gap that they didn't really lose too many positions. But we now go in double file. Fleming will have control of the grid, holding, I believe, 120, actually holding 80 kilometers an hour, I believe. And yes, inside line here for the P1 position. Generally, when you're on the outside, you're a little bit prone to getting swamped off the start by whoever's in P3. But if you can hold it around the outside, you can afford to go deep from the outside line. As they go now too wide, it's going to be quite late, I imagine, as it is with these manual start. Waiting for green, still waiting, off we go. And is a decent jump from Fleming, and it's quite spaced out as Walsh is trying to go around the outside. There's a sideways moment. I think that is Maddox, and unfortunately it's resulted in several collisions. But they still managed to go straight. Oh my goodness.
That could have
some bent panels.
Way worse, and I think they've called the safety car early on that one. Yeah.
I think they got away with actually too much damage, to be honest, as well, because there were some collisions, but no one actually kind of went around. I did see Mags was also off in the purple Ferrari. That was a little bit sketchy, to say the least. Yep, safety car, all go around the slap. I imagine probably will be in this lap as no one's really fallen away from the field. And hopefully everyone remembers that you're not ghosted.
That was probably the least spicy accident that's been called a safety car I've ever seen, because it looked like it was about to really kick off when there was a car perpendicular to the rest of the grid, and then they all just kind of bumped into each other and sorted each other out. So that was quite tidy, actually.
Yeah, the 4 or 5 cars that seemed to be involved kind of bumped into each other and strained each other, and it's stopped each other from going off track.
For mid-engine cars, I was surprised no one actually did a counter steer back. You got that pendulum effect. You kind of saving it one way and it will flick quickly back the other way. But everyone did a very good job, as you said, of holding it. So everyone's really close. Everyone's really close to each other for not being ghosted. It's making me very nervous.
Yeah, they're probably gonna go straight away at the end of this lap. So
Fleming can decide when.
Exactly right.
Now. Is he going to go right up to the line? Is he going to make everyone wait? He's entitled to do so. And Walsh is right there. Oh my God, right there. And he's gone and got Walsh napping a little bit. That's a good jump from Fleming as well. I thought he was going to take it all the way to the line, but he's done a very good job there. Fastest lap, but that's irrelevant, as Walsh has a little bit to look at from Stockton as well, and Kumar behind him as well. A little bit more spaced out now. Now everyone's kind of lying nose to tail, not all square side by side. It's a little bit of a cleaner run through turns 1 and 2, and not seeing too many yellow dots out there, and everyone's still moving, no stationary dots. That's very good to see. So, Walsh is already absolutely going back, and Kumar has to get out a little bit to avoid going into the back of Stockton there. It's all a little bit. everyone's intense. Anything can happen. This is the best moment to attack, and everyone knows it. So everyone's a little bit kind of itchy there. It's trying to look at the field as well. I hate this because I can never get it right, and it seems like no one else can as well. There's McDowell there in the Porsche. Got the BMW all over the back of them as well. Spinazzi. One to watch. I think Spinazzi was probably the fastest car of this group in the previous race. So he can go forward, but he needs to make the moves to do so.
Yeah, definitely a difficult task around such a skinny little track like Brands, but this will be his best opportunity to try and get a drag down the main straight, as straight as it is.
Got a duck on the inside, got to keep
the
your nose there.
And he's going to force the issue, and little touch, but everybody's still on the track, and Maddox and Steele are going to have a bit of that. Maddox! Oh, that was some fantastic driving to avoid a major accident there.
Goodness, Spinazzi, they saw him coming, and I'm speechless for that. Could have been so much worse. Unfortunately, Maddox got himself a little bit too late and high and dry out there. So that Mags looks to the back of Jones as well. He's already on lap 1 and lap 2 as Maddox taking the headlines. It needs a little bit less of that.
That is definitely a spicy restart in lap and a half as we go on board with Sweeney. Currently P15 with Slade and a nice gaggle of cars. They've managed to keep together a bit more this round, this race. Quite a tight battle pack from what looks like probably about P15, P16 all the way to maybe P7. As we see car 27 on the track map at the back there, just a bit of a moment. That's unfortunate.
Slade gets the inside of Sicanias and is going to give Sweeney a bit of a run, but push the back out of it. Yeah, there's some mature driving out there as well. Like, there's no point going for some half-hearted moves. And, yeah, good to see. I'm guessing we lost Busker Kovacs at the start because he was in that top 10 reverse grid, but unfortunately he's now in P25. So I'm guessing he was one of the people who was caught up in that. Unfortunately, lost all the hard work from the first race, but well, still in the race, still on the lead lap, still got 34 minutes to climb up the field. And I think, as we saw from the last race, particularly for Busker Kovacs, like, quiet race, you stay out of incidents and stuff like that, you can go far.
Yeah, he's just at the tail end of a battle pack, so definitely some opportunities to be made. We'll check back in with him later.
Oh, that's really...
Stockton goes well wide, but he's managed to keep it all together. And Spinazzi round the outside. Wow. And I think McDowell's going to get it. Is Steele going to make it through as well? He's going to force the issue.
Oh, it's half-hearted.
Steele. Oh, no.
He's
That is unfortunate.
He's definitely gotten off lighter than Stockton. He kind of arrived at the apex. He kind of just broke later to get there. Whether the steward's going to decide whether that was on, whether that was on or not, or whether Stockton turned in early, that's going to be their decision, and we'll leave it at that. Unfortunately, it's not going to help Steele. You already got to start. It's only round 1, but if you're thinking of putting a championship bid together, less of that.
Definitely, yeah. Ideal start to a championship is winning both races. I definitely think Steele's got the pace to do it. There's still half an hour to go, just over. So
still in P9.
Still plenty of chances. But yeah, just showing how difficult it is to pass around this track. It's going to really, really be interesting to see how the later splits go as well.
Be very interesting. Steele looking to make a move on Jones. got through, not too much issue. I think he kind of gave Jones no option, and Jones quietly backed out of it. Is now under threat from Mags. It's a good run round the outside. It's going to be enough to hit it, and hopefully he doesn't have the overspeed. A little bit of warping there, but that seems to have closed off. And Mags as well. Yeah, I think he was caught up a little bit in that turn lap one kerfuffle, but also looking to damage limitation for the rest of this race. And obviously, maybe not thinking about the championship directly, but this is these are the things you need. You need a consistent points scoring every race, every lap. No DNFs, no big losses. You need to always be there in the points, banking them to make that a championship bid over the season.
Definitely, I feel like if there's anything you'd want in a championship winning car is consistency, just being able to reduce those nasty mistakes that cost you heaps of points. And so we go on board with Jacob Fleming again. Ooh, that was deep from Walsh, and that's given Fleming some breathing room. He's doing an excellent job so far, holding on to the lead with Kumar and Spinaze starting to catch up to the back of this battle pack.
Don't worry, viewers, as well, about people with the AM tags. I'm going to show you, Sean Bubner is definitely probably a silver rated driver. Definitely at least a silver rated driver for Spinaze as well, and Walsh, pretty certain he's between a pro-am and a silver as well, so don't worry, it's just some livery works with the tag system.
Some little oopsies, but yeah, it's starting to spice up the battle between Kumar and Spinaze. As Kumar goes wide, it's going to give Spinaze an opportunity to possibly look out the outside, but he's just going to close the door and hug that inside line. But the BMW is just gonna. I don't know if the BMW just let him cruise on past.
I was going to say I was surprised the BMW didn't have a. I thought the BMW would have more grunt around here, but I didn't think it would have that much. I think that's a bit bit more to that. But I think Kumar is probably thinking a bit more. Maddox takes a lot of entry curve there, especially when it can spit you out. But yes, definitely want to Spinaze now to P3 with the fastest lap. So I think it's going to give Walsh something to think about very shortly.
Definitely, and this is kind of how Spinaze deals with Walsh will give us an idea of if he's going to be able to get Fleming as well. It's a great chance for Spinaze to get the win today. But I want to see that boat. I want to see that boat on the top step. Ooh, as we get some wheel work there from Sweeney. Great save. As the car goes light over turn one, managing to keep it under control just with Slade in front. Definitely not seeing a lot of Mercs this season, so being one of the few, he's doing a great job, being the best of the bunch. And P14, not bad.
Yeah, I drove one for a season in season 14, and it's a good car, and everyone says like, oh, haha, got no flaw, but it's just like, I think it's a very hard car to get the time out of. You need the very good can do it, but the very good are few, let's say. That definitely wasn't one of them. Found it really hard to make any kind of a qualifying time out of that car. And, generally, it was a bit more stronger in race pace, I found.
Yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time in the old Mercedes, other than a couple races in the little mini sprint series that we had over Christmas last year. What about yourself, Brent? Have you had much to do with the old AMG?
Yeah, actually, I ran the AMG during two of the Enduros at the end of last season. So I did the 12 hours Misano in it and the 24 hours at Spa. But yeah, it can be a difficult car to sort of wrangle. It seems to be affected by that front engine issue of getting turn in. But once you figure it out, it's actually quite a nice car to drive, I found.
Spinazzi's managed to find his way around Walsh already as well, with 27 minutes to go. Fleming's got a lot to think about. I wonder if Walsh has had a moment, because he's quite far back from Fleming, as it wasn't really the case a few laps ago. Want to maybe look back on. Yeah.
He is. It looked like he was drifting around the outside. That was an awesome move. And yeah, just putting that BMW power to work versus the Ferrari there. And so I think he's going to blaze on, try and catch up to Fleming, but we'll have to see what happens. It's one thing to catch, but it's another thing entirely to pass. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens as we go on board with McDowell. Maddox tucked in behind, trying to get by. There's these quicker drivers just haven't been able to make as much of an impact. Namely the top three of Mags, Steele, and who else was in the top three last race? Oh, Spinazzi. Yeah, Spinazzi seeming to do the best out of the three of them.
I think McDowell doesn't have like the pace of the Ferraris, but he seems to be very consistent, not really making many mistakes, not going offline, not flying through the gravel, and that's making things hard for Maddox, because, you know, he may not have that right pace, but if he doesn't make a mistake, there's not a lot Maddox can do. Yeah, gonna be tricky. So Steele and Mags now kind of still in the sort of like little train of the field. Bub now, Haven as well. Yeah, I think it's, you really do have to rely on the car ahead of making a mistake. Such a high intensity circuit, especially on the back section. Mistakes not impossible, but you know, if they don't happen, then they don't happen. The door is only ajar as long as the person makes a mistake. It's just going to be line formation so far. Let's see who cracks first.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, there's a little snap of the Ferrari there. It's passing around this track seems to be a case of, yeah, just keep piling on the pressure until somebody leaves a door open, or you know, somebody makes a mistake, and it's quite a different style of racing, I guess, from a lot of the other circuits in the game, where there's ample room and slipstreaming opportunities to try and force the nose up inside before braking zone. But that is, it's definitely showing. It's a bit of an interesting choice for a double race format, and I'm kind of all for it, to be honest. It's been a really interesting race, interesting couple of races actually.
Down the field, Kaplan, which I think is the first of the true I say true amps, it sounds kind of harsh actually, but I think he's first of the you know, maybe more actual AMs down there in the field, leading up the AM class. P19 ahead of Crick and Bernal. Pro-Ams, there's been probably, we'll go off the whatever we have just now until the Steele is going for the almighty drift from turn one. They're putting a corrective lock and some into that one, to say the least. And yeah, rear left tire probably won't enjoy doing that every lap, to say the least. And you know, it's not a 20-minute race; it's a 40-minute race. So you're gonna have to live with that pain. See Spinazzi already catching up to the Bentley of Fleming, who's done a good job, not really made any mistakes. But is he gonna have enough in it to hold up the lead? Will he maybe fight him to? You know, an outright wins on the table. Will he fight him as hard as he needs to? Maybe, you know, maybe if he lets him go, he wouldn't lose much time and stay ahead of the rest of the field. Or you know, if they hold him up, hold pressure, and then the field catch up. You know, who knows? It's all going through your mind. Or maybe you're another driver who just thinks drive, don't think about anything else.
I think Fleming is going to be just sending it as hard as he can, fighting as hard as he can, because this is a win.
I think he is going to fight as hard, because he was already moving left and right, trying to blink the slipstream on like the world's narrowest circuit going there. The back straight. think Spinazi is coming at him whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, and he's made some good impact, but now he's getting into the dirty air of that big old Boatley. It's gonna be killing his tires, so might be a game of just try and hold them up for as long as possible, because those rear tires, they only last so long. You might go to one of those funny sort of wear stages that they go to as the tread gets down. So on camera 1, we've got Kumar having a look up the outside of Walsh, and it's close. Is he gonna force it around the outside? He is. Oh my gosh, a lot of respect there. I think they're still side by side.
Oh, I think he's cleared him on the rear view
He's
camera.
cleared him. There it is. Wow, what a move from Kumar. That was really nice, and on board too. Really good camera shot. Wow,
Oh, that's wide from Walsh as well. Oh, it's double
he's
jeopardy. It's all gone.
starting to feel the pressure. Yep, and now
Maddox wasn't close enough to capitalize.
and when these pros smell blood in the water, they go for it. So he's going to be in a bit of pain, dropping from P3 to P5. That is unfortunate, but promoting Kumar into the podium positions, which
That's a move at the race from Kumar.
that was definitely my favorite. That was some tidy driving and great respect from the both of them to actually make it happen rather than forcing the issue too hard and having a bit of a touch, because through there is a sketchy corner at the best of times.
It's another driver, like a bit like Spinazi. It's just been really composed. We haven't seen them like making mistakes. It's been, you know, doing their own lap time and not looked too uncomfortable, like trying to push the lap time out as well. Like they've kind of just been driving in their own limits, and that's really good driving. Because as we've seen, like I think everyone up and down the field, I think we can count for what most cars up and down this field have had a moment or two caught on the cameras, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Kumar is a solid driver, my championship rival last season. And yeah, always a pleasure to go wheel to wheel with Kumar. He's a fantastic racer. Yeah, so good to see him doing well. As we look on camera 2, the gap stayed about the same. Fleming and Spinazi. So that dirty air, ooh, is a little bit of a twitch coming out of the final corner.
Yeah, that Bentley kind of like, it's just not best with power on. Like, if Pete was here, he'd probably explain it better. He does like his Bentley, but it does have like a kind of with the way the turbos spool, it kind of just doesn't really get on power very nicely, to say the least. I'm not sure the technical about it, but I think if Fleming's doing a good job out there, I think he's probably got enough in his car to keep Spinazi behind, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes. With a very measured drive from Fleming, and he's come a long way, I think, since his debut into OOR as well. Not to say, not to be maybe that's how harsh, but as well, but I think he has come a long way in his own personal driving as well, and I think he did agree somewhat.
Yeah, definitely. He's a fantastic driver. So it's exciting to see him at the pointy end and fighting
you guys
for
all
a race
Pit
win
Viper
right
squad.
now. Yeah, Pit Viper for life.
Where's the Pit Viper skate? Actually, yeah, sorry, Pit Viper. That was the highlight of our commentary team for last season. Like, with the amount that we were commentating on across all the splits. Where is the Pit Viper? Is Pit Viper, as the $10 sponsorship not come through?
Yeah, the Ben raises prices, so can't afford the liveries anymore. No, just because of the bot, and also we've kind of split across the splits this season, because Regan Herbert not on the grid today, and yeah, I've moved out of split yellow to split blue, so yeah, just not as many of us out there tonight. So we go look back in the grid, and Walsh has managed to hold his own versus Maddox, and is starting to nibble at the rear bumper of McDowell there. I don't think he's going to make much of an impact on him, because McDowell's doing absolutely rock solid throughout this throughout this race is Stockton gets a 10-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin. And Jack Steele, a 10-second penalty as well. So that is our race 1 winner with a 10-second penalty. He is really going to
Oh,
be
no,
putting the
Kumar's
pain-
off.
Oh no, Kumar!
Oh,
the
no,
Ferrari
Charles got
looped it.
round.
Oh my gosh.
It was
That
the
is-
Porsche. Oh no.
That is a bit of that was a bit of a nasty commentator's curse there. And I think Jack Steele's been involved in that as well.
996, yeah. We were singing the praises, and unfortunately the curses have coming hard. And
I feel so bad. I think that's my first curse, actually. To be honest, that is.
It was weird because Kumar looked like he took too much speed and went off wide, and I wonder if either McDowell maybe had a moment, or whether he went in too deep and clipped the grass, or whether he was given an assistance up the rear. And then 996 has Steele with his penalty that just got applied, and now he's been sent packing down the grid to P13. Oh my goodness.
On behalf of the Split Yellow commentary team, I apologise, lads. That was a nasty curse. I managed to get 2 for the price 1 on that. Oh.
First rule of commentary: we don't apologise for curses. You know what you signed up for.
That's true. That's true. At least I wasn't predicting rain or something like that. But anyway, it's up to Kumar to make his own luck now and manage to fight his way back to the podium positions. Definitely hasn't lost too much time, so there's a good chance to go on board with Matthews Fernazzi. He's been running a great race, but just can't seem to find any purchase versus this rock-steady Bentley of Mr. Fleming.
Tell they've taken a few kilos off the Bentley. It's zooming a bit down straight, but he's gone wide. Is he going to have enough to get up the inside? Oh, it might be a day late, dollar short, and he doesn't have enough overlap, so he doesn't commit. It's a sensible move. The door was open, but he didn't have his foot there close enough into it, and they both kind of struggling with that corner. It's a horrible corner. It's sort of like your front right kind of just lazily gives up sometimes. And I didn't think 2 front mid-mounted cars would be fighting out for the race 2 honours, I will say, especially not one with a Bentley logo, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's I would not have picked BMW Bentley at all to be my top 2, because both cars seem to be, they've got stronger tracks later in the season, let's say, to put it nicely. But yeah, they're absolutely mega driving from these 2 to get them to where they are this evening. It's a pretty solid effort.
They are both decent aero packages, as much as with the Bentley and the BMW. Like, they both do generate good amounts of downforce in their own ways. Even with the Bentley, it's actually, for a long time it has been a decent aero car. That's why it's been quite good at Silverstone in the history. But rotation as well, on the slow speed rotation, they're definitely not the best for, especially going to here Druids, and especially for the corner after it where they've been struggling for the last few laps. The Graham Hill bend, this sort of weird, awkward 90-degree left-hander, which feels more than a 90-degree, and it kind of just understeers out wide, and they both go over the line. But I think you are allowed a little bit of a leeway out there, we'll say, before you do get a track limit. As John Stockton has gone for a moment going into Sterling's bend. It's gone a little bit wide. He's gonna go ahead, bump, left, right. Oh no! And he clatters someone else and takes him out as well. Oh, it's a carbon Ferrari. Not sure who that is. Oh dear.
Can't see the number.
You don't even have any number. It's Hayden Marsh. There it is.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And just really, you can see Stockton was trying his best to just keep it under control, but just so bumpy, and the Ferrari does not enjoy its bumps at all.
Hoping he wasn't on power, because I guess it sometimes can stabilize, but with a mid-engine, it's just it's a little bit potluck jeopardy, or whether you try to power out of it. But I think you need to arrest the speed as much as you possibly can, because I don't think it's going to end up there. But we'll see if the maybe I dare say numbers might have been called from Marsh's side. And we'll see what happens if anything comes of that. Mags, I think, has been called up since the start of the grid. I think he's got wearing the scars from the first lap collision he had, and he's kind of just been in his own race. He was stuck behind Steele for a long time, and then Steele got vacated by, I believe, another car, or by himself. And he's kind of, I think this is all Max needs to do. He'd maybe not have the pace, but if he can hold down a 7th position, is unfortunately. Hayden Marsh has gone for another excursion. It's coming up now into Sheen Curve.
Yeah, and that
Barry
front
Sheen
end's
curve,
not looking very
understeer.
happy. Yeah.
Oh, and a wheel on the entry, and just the understeer off, and it's oh dear.
Yeah, that's a pretty brutal. The front nose damage. It's kind of, I think you're a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation with significant damage on the front, because you can either spend a bunch of time in the pits fixing it, or you can spend a bunch of time on the track, losing time and having a bad day. So good to see him still out there though, fighting for P23.
That's wide cream up.
Oh, yep, that's going to give
Gone away with it.
Mags a bit of a chance. Not really, not close enough. I think with Mags, that front nose damage is probably affecting his top speed down the front straight. As we look at ahead at camera 2, our battle with the leaders. So keep an eye on that. Doesn't too spicy. Spinazzi goes massively wide. He's done that a few times. He must be getting close on his old track limits. Be careful with that, because the last thing you want to get is a DT. That's really going to ruin your race.
I would go for it still as if I was Spinazzi, but I'd also try to tell myself, you had a podium in the last race, could have a podium again this race. He's probably got to come out top of the championship, I dare say, if the positions hold over Mags and Steele, due to the bad races they had, and they've not had the best of race 2s, despite their high finishing positions of race 1. So I think he's going to be probably the equal best if he still remains P2 or higher. So
yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. Couple podiums, yeah, he'll be sitting pretty at the top of the table. I think it was P2 last race as well. Oh no, that was Max. I don't remember. It was 20-30 minutes ago. It's a long time ago when there's so much action on track and so much excitement. He's back on board with Sweeney and the Mercedes, chasing down Slade. And doing a pretty decent job keeping that Bentley, sorry, not Bentley, Silver Brain, the old Mercedes, under control. Just having a look. Just not quite close enough though to making an attack just yet.
Oh, McDowell could have been having a good race and got quite a bit of rear damage. We saw them going for a spin, and I wonder if that's been assisted. Though they could have had it also from when they were spinning into a fence potentially. But, who knows? I think it all happened a lot too happened back then, as the leaders are coming up to 2 lap cars, and they form 60 and 27, 22 and 23rd position with Starkey and March. And hopefully nothing is too heavily affected by those the flags. That's the thing, it's got to hurt for Spinazzi. He's clearly quicker. He's been on the tail of Fleming for so long, and it's got to be frustrating. I'm not surprised why he's not holding back, because it's right there. It's right there for the pickings.
Yeah, but that Bentley's got some straight line pace, and just the BMW's not able to compete with it. So if Darty's able to keep it strong on the exit and just really get down those straights with some decent pace from far out, that's close, the Bentley's engine, I think he'll be able to keep a hold on that P1, because he is doing an absolutely mega job with the defense so far. Granted, these lap cars could prove difficult, but we're using blue flag rules here at OR, so they have to get out of the way as soon as possible. So hopefully they realize that it's the lead of the race and they get out of the way nice and quickly as they're having a bit of a moment. That's Hayden Marsh, and he's caught him up very quickly, so we'll see what happens here. Yep, touch of the brakes, and Duddy will go, thank you very much, sir, and continue on his merry way. Not a hold up at all. Very good.
Just over 6 minutes left to decide his race, and actually Walsh has had his kind of earlier sort of moments, but he's still holding down P3. I'll say that he's just lost it now. That's just going to say as Maddox is taking it, as Jacob Maggs has gone around. Unfortunately, exit of the Clark curb. I wonder if it has been any assistance with that, but it might have been. He's the back of the field. I'm not sure how can be affected from here. He's gonna dip the wheels. It's just the rear left. That's the worst thing. You dipping 2 wheels is okay, but and he slews around, avoids the wall. Yellow flag's waved, and hopefully he rejoins nice and safely. No one else is caught up as he's going. There was a gap there. He got through, and I think don't want to leave it any closer than that. Oh no, Sean Bubner has gone round for a pirouette into Graham Hill Bend. Oh dear, it might have he's got hazards on. Oh no, he's been hit again from Slade. That's not very nice. That's not very kosher. He's got hazards on, so he may have been having a moment already. So, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
When it rains, it pours. Somehow not pouring in England, in the UK. How's this happened? Somebody needs to go kick one of the server bots and tell them to figure it out or something.
Oh, that's a
oh my gosh. Now, we saw it a little bit at the end of the last race, just having one of those sort of tyre phases, not so enjoyable tyre phases with a lot of the cars on the track getting a bit squirrely, and it's just a little bit more than that this time around. They're well and truly into the pain zone, I guess, on some of these cars. They're squirrely on throttle and squirming around, having all sorts of fun. But yeah, that Bentley, it's doing a good job of keeping Spinazzi honest, and there's just not been any opportunities for him to try and force a move.
He's been doing a good job, but blue wheels with your black and red livery, like, come on.
Yeah, that's probably not right.
That's gonna undo all your effort here today. You didn't coordinate. Starlight Children's Foundation. It can't go wrong.
I like the yellow liner on the purple wheels. It matches the rest of the livery. Quite a cool livery, I must say. Big fan of this one.
Pesley is how I know about Starlight's Children's Foundation. He does raised a lot of money. Well-known Tarkov streamers, Pesley. I think Neil was trying to get him to join OOR when he was kind of on his iRacing plight, but unfortunately lost him to the pay. Oh no, it's a touch, and it still straightens out. They got really close, and then close enough for a nibble, and thankfully Fleming has just straightened out, and nothing has become of it. And dare say, hopefully that's just race on from here on that. It wasn't. I don't think it was anything malicious in that, to say the least.
No, definitely not. Just not getting on the power as early as Spinazzi expected. So just a little tap, but hopefully that hasn't affected Darty's car too badly. Should be all right. It was a pretty light tap. Usually the game is pretty
slow speed, thankfully.
Yeah. Had an interesting Kunos moment in a race that we had a little while ago. A car got sucked into the other car because of the higher ping. That was the tiniest of touches, and then it got turned into this big accident because of Kunos physics. But yeah, luckily no such thing on these servers with the low ping. Most of the drivers being from the Oceania region. And yeah, it's not much of a change. It's kind of given Fleming a bit of a respite with that contact. Oh, that BMW is gripped up. Daddy defends the inside, and same thing again. Just hugs that inside and just takes it as slow as he can because there's one line through there, and he's in front, so he gets to choose the pace. The Spinaza goes wide again. Gosh, he's using that outside of the corner quite a bit. I'd be getting a little bit worried if I was his race director, his race engineer. Classic Max warning of, you've got a black or white flag, please calm down. But who knows, he might go and do fastest lap before he ends the race.
Great defensive drive from Fleming. We've seen a lot of drivers throw it off of their own accord, whether they're under pressure or throwing the pressure out there. And yeah, it's so easy to fly off the circuit here. Fleming has done an excellent job. See with Spinazzi, I think he's definitely got the more speed into the first part of the corner. Dare say probably carrying a bit too much speed on some corners where he's kind of understeering off. But he has that definitely more front end bite, but can't really get the exit. Whereas Fleming with the turbos and someone who's fast approaching is Maddox in the McLaren. Whether he will catch them in time if they don't make a mistake, these two, as that's really wide. That's taking the top. And I don't think you're going quicker at that rate, put it that way. And, I reckon Spinazzi's probably used up a bit of his front tyres at the very least. Trying with the lines he has been taking for that corner. I know it's probably Jacob Fleming. It's probably not the strongest corner for Jacob Fleming, but I think Spinazzi's been taking a bit too much of that one. It's so close. Oh, really close.
Oh my gosh.
This will be the final lap with only 5 seconds left on the clock. They won't get to the line in time for another lap. So this is it. Penultimate corner. Is it going to be Fleming? Is it going to be Spinazzi? Is it Bentley or BMW? Is it Munich or Crew? Into final corner, into Clark Curve. Fleming's got the car gap, and I think that's going to be all she wrote with a good exit. And even if he got a bad exit, he probably had the turbos to beat as Fleming takes out race 2.
Wow.
Reverse grid pole and led the race from start to finish. Well done, under pressure, followed by Spinazzi, Maddox, Walsh, Webb, and Kumar P6, Jones in P7, Sakanias P8, and Sweeney in the Mercedes in P9, followed by Slade in P10, and Mags, our race 1 pole sitter, is with the fastest lap for P11. A very sorry looking Marsh, I believe, there.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. Just like absolutely fantastic defense all the way to the finish. As you see, Taplin making a couple moves. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong part of the grid. My bad. As McDowell and Maile making your top 15.
That's okay. We got 2 Taplins. One's in the GTR, one's in the McLaren.
There we go.
Speaking of a GTR McLaren.
There they are. Wow, just
Well
a
done, boys.
fantastic race all around. Yeah, that was mega, and yeah, a massive congratulations to Fleming. That was a huge win, and really well fought between those two, Fleming and Spinazzi. So, race 2, your overall winner, Jacob Fleming, followed by Spinazzi and Maddox. And then in the the classes are not working today. We'll just do the top 10. Walsh, Webb, Kumar, Jones, Sakanias, Sweeney, and Slade rounding out your top 10. That was an absolutely amazing session at Brands. And joining us in the commentary box is Mr. Peach.
Welcome, but we'll have a short break now as we switch over to Split Green. But thank you to you, Sean Brimblecombe and Brent, for commentating here at Split. Yeah, great first race to kick off the season. Lots of great racing, and we'll catch you in next week.
Thank you very much. We'll see
Thank you very much. See you next, guys.
Sorry, I wasn't ignoring Sean. I didn't realize my wheel was turned off, so my push to talk wasn't working.
No worries. Sure we'll be eventually joined by our third commentator as well, Mr. Cricky, but he probably has to get himself prepared after he's literally just stopped driving a few seconds ago. So look now to Split Green, already into their first qualifying session. Different set of contenders, a whole fresh new set of drivers, whole new fresh set of wheels, and 2 more races. Plenty of action, don't go away.
Only about a minute remaining in qualifying there, and we see Connor Hine currently sitting on pole with a 23.
23.032. So excellent time by Connor Hind in the McLaren.
Sorry, my push to talk is not working correctly for some reason. It keeps turning off, but yeah, I think this will be a very competitive split. A couple of the fast guys either, so we'll see next week whether they are back. But Benjamin Hignett here coming into the final corner. Let's see if he can improve and get into pole position. He only needs to find a 10th.
Taking the high line, not taking the low, shorter line. It's very interesting. He's going to get round as well for 1 more lap. So now to Palmer in the Porsche. Oh, really a little bit of a small slide on the exit. Excellent stuff. 2 tenths up into Sterling curve, and coming now into Clark curve as well. The 2 tenths will put him towards P4 on the grid. And a little bit of time in it. It's always dipping away a little bit, a few hundreds. Looks to be just a bang on 2 tenths. P4 it is for Palmer. That's all is going to be hit for him in this session. Luke Johnson in the is always Castrol colours of the McLaren for the number 19.
He's nothing if not consistent. But in saying that, we are officially joined by none other than Mike Crick. How are we today, sir?
Good, Pete. How are you guys doing tonight?
Very good. Looking forward to some Brands Hat action after some good racing in Split Yellow and some very tight qualifying in this split at the moment. So it seems as though we will have a fairly fun race coming up. Of course, it is 2 20-minute race and then a reverse grid second race with 40 minutes of racing.
Yeah, as Cook wasn't able to improve. And it's going to be Connor Hind in the McLaren for P1 with 22, first of the 22s for the season, 22.977 gauntlet thrown down. And great to see a bit more variety than there has been from in Split Green and there was in Split Yellow in terms of the cars. We've got a few more BMWs, got a lot of McLarens, that said. But a couple of Porsches on the first 2 rows is lovely to see, and a Bentley on the 3rd row as well. Excellent.
Interestingly enough, last season this was the Ferrari split, and that seems to have moved to Split Yellow this season. But now lots of McLarens, as you said, and then a good old mix there. A couple of BMWs, a Bentley in there, Porsches. So yeah, and 1 Honda, none other than Julian by himself. So yeah, certainly going to be interesting. Connor Hind does take pole there, as we saw at the end. Brad Cook improved in the last couple of seconds to take P2. Benjamin Hignett, Brad Palmer, Liam Hamilton, John Sonicus, Moyen Taufik, Benjamin Vintner, Andre Costa, and Luke Johnson is your top 10. So, of course, the second race will be a top 10 reverse grid. So, all to play for that P10 on the final step of. So, Cricky, how was your first race of the season back in the GTR as usual, and enjoyed Brands Hatch?
Yeah, look, it's never been a strong track for the GTR, but look, first race was a bit rough. You know, had to get some cobwebs out, I think. But second race went pretty well. There was a really good. I don't know if the stream got it, but we were having a really fun battle there between sort of P18 to P21. Lots of back and forth, lots of dives and passes. So Brands Hatch off.
Your push to talk also turned off. I've been having the same issue where the push to talk stops working after a couple of seconds.
Good old Discord. How are you, Discord? Love you so much. Yeah, I don't know where it cut off, but yeah, it was a good fun race. Love Brands Hatch. It's a fantastic track. Some people hate it, but I'm a big fan of it, so I'm keen to see how all these lovely ladies and gentlemen go.
Yeah, tricky track for racing. Definitely good fun to hot lap, but it is very, very tricky to overtake. And as Banatse got a lot of proof of in that race, he was stuck behind Darty for about 25 minutes towards the end of the race there and just couldn't find a way through. Darty placing the car beautifully most of the time. But speaking of people that love Brands Hatch, Sean Miller all the way too, so I'm not 100% sure if he just didn't manage to put a lap together, but I'm sure he'll be looking to move forward quite a bit. And then we see a poll in chat there. Who takes race 1 chocolates? Connor Hind, Brad Cook, Benjamin Hignett, or someone else? What do we say in comms, lads? Cameron?
I mean, it's hard to look past Connor Hines with 22.977, but you know, if he, I mean, to be honest, I'm going to be boring and say whoever gets into turn 1 first.
That is
It's a
quite
tough
boring,
call.
you're right.
That is quite boring. I will say Connor Hines. I will be decisive in my decision and definitely not doubt it later.
It's definitely a tough call here. I think any of those top 8 are really close together in terms of pace, and that's not to put off anyone else who's a little bit further down with them. You've even got people like Weatherburn there, he's quite quick on his day. It's really hard one to pick, but I'll be different. I won't call for Connor, even though he's probably one of the shouts. I reckon I'm gonna go for Benny here.
You cut out just as you were saying the name.
I think we heard Hignett, but yes.
Yeah, we heard Benny Hignett,
I'm
yeah.
going Hignett in the BMW.
Okay, that's fair enough. Look, I believe that at the end of the day, racing is the winner, so it doesn't really matter who wins.
Speaking of which, I would say, like, you know, we did say Muller was down there, but also Rad's down there, who's no slow operator. This might be quite a tight split, let's say, in the overall for pace. You know, there's definitely people who are down there are definitely not slow, that's for sure.
Yep, even Luke Johnson is a very fast operator. I mean, he was, I think, P4 or 5 overall in the championship last season, so a little bit out of position, but they are coming to the first corner. Do you lads mind if I take it away for the first race of the season?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
As we see Connor Hind in the McLaren leading away, Brad Cook in the Porsche, Benjamin Hignett in the BMW, Brad Palmer in another Porsche, and then we have Hamilton, Sonicus, Taufik, Vintner, Costa and Johnson rounding out your top 10. We are coming on to the Knot Straight, leading up to the start-finish line to start the first race here for Split Green in the Simrigs Sprint Series here in Octane Online Racing. We are about to go green, and that is a good start on before they even reach turn 1, but Hignett is up the inside of Cook. Will he be able to hold it there into turn 2? Looks as though it was fairly clean through turn 2. Hignett is there. Cook is going to have to give him the space. If he can hang it around there, he might be able to hang on into turn 3 to stay on the inside. He's there. He's enough alongside to keep it in there, and that's going to allow Hamilton to get alongside Hignett here coming into turn 4. Will he be able to stick it up the inside for long? And he is giving him just enough room on the exit there, Hignett and Hamilton side by side. It's a BMW drag race. Who is getting the tow from Cook ahead? It looks as though it is Hamilton, but Hignett is far enough alongside to demand the space, and Hamilton gets squeezed ever so slightly. That's going to allow Palmer a little look coming into the middle sector here for the first time. Connor Hind is away already, and we have a big diff in the back there. There's two fairly slowly, a couple of yellow flags. I'm not sure if it's big enough to be a yellow flag, but it may well be. Looks as though John Sonicus was also involved in that, Thurkelini and a couple of other drivers, but Connor Hind comes around the final corner for the first time, leading the race here in Split Green.
Yep, I think I saw 8 and 844. Fercolini and Greco, unfortunately, have gone through a tumble down at the bottom of the grid, along with the number 66 car. And that is very unfortunate, but yep, a very aggressive start. Good moves made from Houghton. Went up one position ahead of Palmer and almost took Hignet's P3 away from him. But decisive inside line for the right-hander. At the end of the straight, kept Hignet from losing another position. But very clean racing overall, very close. A bit of wheel banging as well between the two BMWs, but no more, nothing nefarious, nothing over the line from what I saw.
Yeah, certainly good clean racing between the two BMW drivers. They Luke Johnson has covered 2 spots, and here we'll get a little replay of what happened to John as he comes into turn 3. Nothing happening there. I think it was a little bit further down the track.
Oh, that's late.
Okay. So he killed himself there. Unless some more death and destruction later.
He's just being sensible there. He's done a good job. He also knew that he wasn't going to get it stopped in time. And no, but there it is.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
damage. Oh, he's going straight. Is he unfortunately lost everything from there?
So that's the death. Okay. No, fair enough. Fair enough. The first one wasn't it. Yeah. Oops. I think is the correct word. So his awful luck from last season continues.
That's not the word he would have used.
Very wide by Vintner there. That allows Johnson a little look up the inside. Vintner's going to have dirty tires. He's not going to have the grip on the outside. And Johnson is through. That was a big mistake from Vintner there through the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, I think you got the call right at the start, just after qualifying here. This field is very close together. You know, they've all stayed very tight. There's a little bit of a break in the chain up the rear end there, but everybody's staying pretty close together. Even Connor, whilst he sort of darted away a little bit from Cook, he's still only 1.4 seconds ahead. So everybody here really sticking very close together. And
You cut out again.
who can put on the pressure and who can actually make it work for them.
Yeah, it looks as though Hind is faster than Cook, but not by much, like a 10.42 a lap. So he's just sort of eking that gap out. So Hignet is just trying to sort of settle down a little bit and try and mount an attack onto Cook to get into P2. But at the moment, Andre Costa sitting in P10. He is your provisional reverse grid pole setter. There's of course 15 minutes remaining, so a lot can change, but he's in the bound seats for race 2 as it stands.
That's allowed with 2 wheels on the grass in the exit of Clark Cove as well. Frankly, Costa was not close enough to capitalise for his sake, but yes, Brad Cook keeping Connor Hind somewhat honest out there, still at the front, and equally so from Hignet and Hamilton and dare say all the way back to Palmer. But yes, very close out there. As I think we saw in Split Yellow, it's hard to make a move around here, and one mistake can be a complete unraveling of your whole race somewhat, as everyone is right there to capitalize. And momentum is such a high energy circuit, such a high average speed, especially through this back section. As we go through Hornthorne Hill, down to Derek Minster Straight, into Westfield, the sort of awkward right-hander that's almost 90 degrees, through these weird Dingledale corners of slight right-handers, still full flat, and then to Sheen Curve, the sort of off-camber right-hander as well. Plenty of right-handers, and then a sort of weird banked left-hander of Sterling's. Yeah, they're all great once you go tick, bam, 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 get them all right. But as soon as you get one wrong, it all unravels and it throws the whole momentum off. And dare say we're going to see that happen a little later on, because it's a very high intensity out there.
Yeah, certainly it's a track where you don't only have to worry about other drivers potentially running into you. The track is out to set you off into a barrier as soon as it can. There's so many spots there where you will be able to just even really realizing what you're doing, and you will go around and you will hit a wall and your race will essentially be over. But we saw there Connor Hind with a 22.9. It's perfect conditions. These 20-minute races are awesome little hot runs. You can get some really good laps in. as we start getting a replay here of what happened at the start to cause much sadness. So it looks as though Turcolini ran into the back of the McLaren, and then the McLaren did what
That's a bad rejoin.
only be referred to as a poor rejoin, I think.
I was going to say bad. I'd use a stronger word on reflection.
Yes, no, I can think of a couple of 4-letter words that describe it.
As Neil Compton would say, dead set ordinary. Oof. Oof.
Oof, that's
Can't go one season without mentioning one of those.
That's a
lovely
beautiful
paint
little-
job.
Yeah.
It's not one of yours, Cricky, is it? It's going to say we're not very subtle there, are we? If it was, I think that's a Hignett job, isn't it?
No, that's one of mine.
No, that's a cricket.
Ah, there we
think
go.
Cricket has been the official
accidentally
pixel
humble.
race.
Doing all the pixel race deliveries. The Fink here, being followed closely by Johnson. Johnson making lots of inroads, really pushing his way up the field. I've noticed this a lot with Johnson. Every time I've sort of watched him race, he tends to be a really big performer in the races. You know, he doesn't always qualify at the top of the field, but he really likes to carve his way up. Maybe it's just that's how he's engaged or whatever. He's doing a good job here, chasing close to Tafiq, who is, you know, behind Palmer here. And, getting real close.
Johnson
Thoroughly slapped Johnson with the pro tag for this season. He couldn't get away with silver anymore. As could I couldn't as well.
Yeah.
You know, I got a pro-am slap this season.
I mean, it's well deserved. Your consistency has shown throughout the seasons, but yeah, Johnson is one of those racers that is incredibly quick, and he's quite aggressive, and that's why he's able to cut through the field. But it does also mean sometimes getting involved in a couple of scuffles here and there. But you know, you have to be aggressive to get through the field, especially in a field as competitive as this, where the doing high 22s race pace, which I think most people would be quite happy with in a quali run.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. That's the kind of pace that I think everyone would want to be doing. Although, you know, we're probably on roughly qualifying positions for sort of conditions, for a lot of people. Only a short race. But yeah, definitely those kind of lap times consistently. I think that's what everyone would be aiming for.
That's deep.
He's gone way too deep though, but doesn't look like it's cost him too much though. He did have a decent gap to tap behind. He's going to have to try and regain that pressure back on Johnson. That's still a fall off Tafiq a bit. As Tafiq sort of closed in on. More volume. How is this?
That's much better, actually.
That's better.
Yeah, you immediately sound a lot more luscious. And Hignett there has closed the gap up to Cookie as well. He's only about 17 tenths. Maybe just had a bit of a poor middle sector. So he's going to be piling the pressure onto Cook towards the final 10 minutes of this race. And then throughout the rest of the top sort of 15, 14, there's no big gaps really. I mean, the biggest gap is 1.3 seconds. Or 2.6 there to Liam Hamilton. But the rest of the top 10 is very, very close to each other. And it's making this battle for reverse grid pole quite competitive here with the three Maccas vying.
Yeah, what do you do in this situation? You know, if you're Tatlin, do you slow down a bit? Do you back into P10? I suppose you wouldn't give up P9 for P10. You'd probably give up P8 maybe.
Ooh, that's a moment there for Costa. The thing is, it's... Ooh, is he going to send it Kong?
Saw it coming, left into space. Arguably, probably didn't need, shouldn't have left the space. It wasn't really entitled to it. It was a bit of a late lunge. But yes, hopefully Pong has rectified some of his connection issues, because I think he got kicked out of it from most races last season, if I recall, due to a unfortunate connection sort of ping loss, unfortunately. But yes, going stronger this season by the scene in the McLaren.
That's
One
Johnson.
goes for a bit of a hop up ahead.
Yeah, so Johnson off track there, and we see our first penalty for this split, with Verglini getting a 15-second penalty there for that lap 1 incident. It looks as though, I'm not sure if Cook and Hignett maybe had a bit of an incident or something, but the gap from Hein to Cook all of a sudden went over 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds, and Hignett also lost a bit of time to Cook there, as we see get the drive through there for that rejoin that we saw earlier in the
I was
race.
curious that was going to come through. I was expecting a big paddling for that, and it has come through. Yeah, Hignett and Cook have dropped back around 3.7 seconds behind. Whether Hines just lit the afterburners these last few laps, and maybe a missed apex here and there can all that needs for the gap to extend to that much.
Yeah, but the gap from Hamilton to Hignett also came down by about a sec. Wondering if Hignett had maybe a small off or something, but yeah, very strange going on as we see car number 12 there has committed seppuku.
Car 14 trying their hand at it as well.
Yeah, so David Barker now closing in on.
Weatherburn.
Ooh.
Too much Euro beat for Jacob Weatherburn there, but he managed to survive, so good job.
Seeing a
Well
lot
done,
of these
Yoda. Use the
McLarens.
fourth there.
A lot of McLarens. It seems that you guys just always go through sideways. You're looking out the side windows and that bloody thing. McLaren drivers.
I don't know what you mean, you people. I'm not driving a McLaren this season. So
This season,
thank you very much.
but,
I am
think
back in my one true love, the Bentley. So I'm very much looking forward to getting onto track for the first time.
Let's see. Hopefully, well, we've already had a Bentley win, so the expectations are high now for you guys.
Anyway, Weatherburn are doing very well here, and Barker piling the pressure onto Costa for that reverse grid pole. And we've seen Barker race before. He's not known for being a little lamb when it comes to battling, so I think Costa will be feeling the pressure for sure.
Very interesting. Like seeing a lot of these McLarens. Obviously, we're kind of used to seeing. It's got quite a aggressive boost on the rear axle. That's kind of how it makes its speed. But I don't think this race will be much concern for tire preservation. But we got twice the distance in the second race and no pit stops. You have to take that set of tires the whole 40 minutes. Skating right on the edge is Brian Kong, right up to the white lines. Weatherburn does look a little bit faster, maybe a little bit got cleaner lines. Where we can get past, patience is a virtue. It's a little bit better run if he can keep his foot in it and the door wasn't closed. And he's got up the inside of Kong. Should be side by side, I believe, and should be Weatherburns to lose from the inside line into the Paddock Hill bend, and has gone through very cleanly, very decisively. Love to see it.
Yeah, great move there from Weatherburn. Holding on to that. You've got to be brave to hold it around turn one there. The car bounces around. I mean, even the McLaren, which is pretty planted, bounces around and causes all sorts of problems for you there. So really did a great job to hold on to it. But, Kong's still in there. Let's have to see if he can hold on back or if he's going to fall back a few more positions.
Kong just made a couple of small mistakes through that final sector, and that's what allowed Weatherburn the opportunity to get in there. But David Barker, we saw him have a little look there into turn 3. He's still piling the pressure. Costa keeping it stable for now, as we see Vintner and Johnson side by side. And Vintner not able to get through on this occasion. But we saw Johnson off track a couple of laps ago as well, so he's having some adventures. I didn't know that McLaren make an off-road vehicle, but this one seems to do it quite well.
Yeah, it's interesting what Cam was saying before as well. I think it really plays out, at least in my experience in the last split. You definitely notice this consistent battling like this when you're constantly following someone around here at this track. It really does cost you quite a bit in terms of the tyre life, and you really do feel that. And as we see Johnson there just going a little bit wide, which is inviting Vintner in. It's so hard to find that overtaking opportunity. Vintner's looking, it's all pressure. It's all just about trying to make the other guy blink in front of you, trying to get him to make a mistake, go that little bit wide, lose that touch of exit speed so you can get them on the straight, or get them just around that third sector somewhere.
Yeah, this is where the drivers who drive without a rear view mirror are benefiting, because they won't be seeing that big old M4 grille all over the back of them. They're blissfully unaware of what's happening right behind them, so they can just focus on what's ahead of them, and that's something that is really necessary at Brands Hatch, because as Cameron was saying, it is such an intense track. You never have a moment to relax, so you really need to keep your wits about and just keep the focus up ahead of you. And just look at the BMW is sitting right on the tail of the McLaren, but nothing doing so far. See, Connor Hind has gone through turn 1. There's about 3 more laps remaining, I would say, and he is he's dominating this race so far. Cook, no answer for Hind when it comes to just outright pace. Hignett, same thing there.
Long's gone. That's me. Oh, never mind that. We got Johnson and Vintner getting really close, and it's bringing Tatley in as well back into the equation. So it's weird because like Johnson's like car does not really making any major mistakes. It's just kind of where he just can't really get the grip down to how he likes. And just Vintner just looks a bit more composed, just a bit clean. Oh, speaking of which, Johnson goes for a weird quarter slide. He's got to give Vintner a run, but it's on the wrong side. But where we can get far enough to clear, is he going to go deep? Is he going to go deep or go home? He's holding it around the outside, but he's going to be on the outside again. It's 3 right-handers. Tatlian doesn't stick the nose up there, thankfully, as well, to give Vintner a chance to come back in. That's very courteous. But also keeps. Oh no, but Tatlian's gone. Oh. And 2 wheels on the grass before that corner is nothing but understeered death. And it's taken him out of the equation, and I think he's lost 2 positions as a result of that. Yep, to Costa and Barker.
That has put Barker on reverse grid pole by default at the moment with 2 laps remaining. That's a costly mistake there for Tatley, and just maybe became a little bit fixated on the battle ahead of him and just lost focus for a split second. And there you go, 2 positions. Oh, Johnson is wide again. Oh, big old snap, and that's Vintner up the inside. Maybe distracted with the blue flag going slowly. And Vintner through up into P7.
Vintner using that blue flag beautifully there. Just absolutely using it to perfection. Well done for Vintner there. Co-taking on the inside. Nicely done. But Johnson's not going to give up. There's still a minute to go.
Johnson is wrestling that McLaren. It doesn't look blunted at all. He's really having quite a few moments. It's going to be concerning for the 40-minute race if the tire wear is like, oh!
Watch Barker on the inside. He doesn't have enough run to have the overlap. Yeah. Johnson.
Ooh, Tatlian does it again.
Oh, when he goes for a gravel, and there goes Pepperburn as well.
They say is doing the same thing over and over again, and that was a little bit of a mistake there from Tatlian yet again, allowing Weatherburn into P12. And we saw car 66, I think that was Graham Forrester. They have a bit of an incident as well. He's back on track now, and Hind has started the final lap. I think he's pretty safe in terms of winning this, unless he does have a major off by himself, which doesn't seem too likely. And Johnson, with all of those mistakes, he's just getting pressure here from Costa behind him. Looks as though Forrester is still going fairly slowly. Hopefully he won't be affecting Hind as Hind comes into the 3rd sector for the final time. Car 6 has had an incident. Looks like car 8 has had an incident. That is Greco, who has returned to pits. Car 6 is going very slowly. Wondering if Fox has enough fuel, and he's waiting for the leader to come through. It certainly looks like an... Oh my goodness. Okay.
What has happened there?
A few takes. Oh, he's coasting. I think.
Yeah, he's run out of fuel. Got behind, takes the win here for Split Green in race 1. Brad Cook follows him across the line in P2. Benjamin Hignett in P3. Johnson, Hamilton crosses in P4. Fick P5 and P6. Benjamin Vintner will cross the line in P7. Where is Luke Johnson? He's still under pressure from Costa, but he's going to hang on. And David Barker will be your reverse grid pole sitter in race 2. Nick Tatlian will be kicking himself rather hard at the moment, as it looks as though Danny Vu has also run out of fuel. He is coasting towards the start-finish line there. Dan
Might make
Foxtrot
it.
still coasting.
He's gonna make it.
He's bloody done it!
Across the line. Oh dear, oh dear. First, you have to finish. There's that joint.
I can understand running out of fuel in a 1 hour race or something when it's quite a big number. This is 20 minutes. It's not a big number. It's not it's not a difficult fuel calculation. And we see Graham Forrester coming around the final corner there. He was going slow on the previous lap, so maybe involved in a little incident of his own doing, or maybe together with somebody else, and he will be the last car to cross the finish line, I think. Hignett is still out on track doing God knows what.
Things.
Just Hignett things, and everybody will just for Benjamin to decide. Oh, he has no TC.
Top 10 from this race will get a nice 8-minute breather, whereas everyone else has to go straight into an 8-minute qualifying session to determine from P11 down, essentially.
Okay, and we have a bit of an inside look into what was causing Luke Johnson's issues. He was running with brake pads 4. So for those unaware, brake pads 4 is basically useless, and it's to show you the wear on a brake pad, how it looks when it's gonna to explode.
It's basically brake pads 1 with more heat and less life. And it's useless, so I don't even know why did he even have it selected in the first place? Because it's not selected by default.
Well, some people use it for quali because they feel that it brakes better, which
in the early days it was better than pad 1s, but it's not anymore. But some people feel like it gives better feel, but that's up to them. But
can somebody ask Ignat to thank God? Okay, we are up now. Tipping over into Super Quali. So if you're just joining in, race 1 has finished, and Connor Hind has taken Brad Cook in P2, Benjamin Hignett in P3. I think the classes aren't 100% correct, so we won't go through the classes. And we have Liam Hamilton, Brad Palmer, Moyun Tafik, Benjamin Vintene, Luke Johnson, Andre Costa, and David Barker as your top 10. Everybody below them will be qualifying again now, and it's a bit of a tense qualifying session because it's only 8 minutes. It's not a lot of time to put a lap together, and this will determine the grid outside of the top 10 reversed for race 2.
Yeah, very easy to get a track cut here, and invalidate any of your laps when you're out there on full pace. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, especially considering like most of the people from in that 11 down, there's a lot of fast people still in there. A few people had some bad luck. I expect to see John do reasonably well here. He was right up there in the first round of qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top for this super qualifying.
Yeah, John is doing a pit start for the second race, so he's not qualifying. I think that's about the only way he can avoid lap 1 death is pretty much not starting on lap 1, essentially.
Did he just take his hands off the wheel as soon as he got in the collision? Because it looked like his car just went straight on as soon as he had the collision in the first place.
I think he was looking for his Alt F4 hotkey. He just probably missed it. So.
Is it easy to do Alt F4 when you got a cigarette in one hand?
Yeah. He uses that same hand. That's why his stream deck is covered in ash. But yeah, we see a couple of drivers here have started their first laps. I think Ash White will be the first driver, or is there a couple of others who are already on laps? Looks as though Weatherburn is going fairly quickly, so be interesting. What do we predict for pole as it stands in this qualifying?
23, maybe even a 20 low, 23. I'm trying to think who's an outlier here of the remaining runners.
Just give it a guess.
I would say 23-4.
Cricky?
Well, I was probably going to say about a 23-4, so I'm going to go for a 22-9.
Okay.
Bloody
let's
hell.
see. I'll
Bear in
split.
mind, only one driver got a 22-9.
I'm going for it. I got faith in these guys.
But it was a fast track in the first quali, in fairness, so that certainly will help. I mean, there's a couple of drivers in the split that are for sure capable of 22s. I'm just not sure any of them finished out of the top 10. So I'm gonna split the difference between you two and say a 23.18. That's my prediction.
John was probably the highest qualifier who is in this session, but is not taking part.
Yes, I think so. So we do have, I mean, Tatlian would have been, he should be a driver who is in the low 23s. Weatherburn for sure should be in the low 23s as well, especially given these conditions. Optimum track, fairly low track and ambient temps. So I think conditions wise, it's perfectly set up as Tatlian there does take the provisional pro at the moment.
It's 23-7 dead by the looks of things.
That's not a bad banker.
Yep. It's Matthew Bolt. I'm sure we saw him in the first race. It's a name I'm not familiar with. But
Well, it's his debut. Yeah, some of the drivers stepping up from rookies. Matthew Bolt, Danny Vu. I think there may be one or two others as well. So it's good to see academy drivers making that step. You see Julian Gray here in his much beloved Honda.
Weatherburn losing it just at the end there.
Gonna stop that. It's not gonna go any quicker in that direction.
He just wanted to lower the wing a bit.
People say the GTR suspension is broken, but half the time I see the wheels popping through the top of the bodywork in the McLaren, so who knows with this game.
Yeah, except
Oh,
the GTR
that's
suspension is broken.
That's what the McLaren does in real life as well. Have you not seen it?
Oh, goodbye, Julian.
Oh,
That's an RTG.
Greco with a
So,
big old
Greco,
moment there.
a quick driver as well in this race. Didn't do himself any favors in the first race by publicly with the most bender rejoin of the series so far.
It is a nice livery though, so at least John got a good view of that in race 1. You see John Carter there with a 23.5. I think John Carter and Matthew Bolt are duo series teammates, which is also a good little opportunity to shout out the final round of the duo series, which will be taking place this Saturday at the classical Laguna Seca.
No, sorry, Laguna Seca, yes. No, sorry, surprise, it's Virginia International Raceway. If we had that power, we wouldn't be where we were.
As we look at Yoda here coming into the final sector, is 310 to find 2.9. Hopefully the car that has went off there is out of the way, and he gains a bunch coming through the second last corner there. Only needs to nail one more corner and he should be on for provisional pole. How does he go through the final corner? Loses a little bit there. Is it going to be enough? He's still draining time. That's not going to be enough. He's going to be frustrated with that, but he will know that he has enough in the tank for that final corner to perhaps even more.
Yeah, one more.
Tiniest tour.
Ferklini will be looking for a better race as well after getting involved in that lap 1 incident. And he is improving quite a lot here, and he does the same thing, runs a little bit wide in the final corner, loses 2/10 there. That'll be frustrating as he maybe dips into the 23s, not quite. And again, another driver who will know that he has a tank in that final corner.
Such a...
You go, Ken.
I was going to say, it's just like... The new Porsche is just such a shadow of the previous one. It needed 21 kilos taking off of it in pop. That's a shame. The old Porsche was a real car around this track. And a complete death stick. That's one thing to describe it.
Complete death stick.
Death stick.
I've heard...
I've heard a lot of things, but that's a new one to me.
Yeah, no, I've heard the Porsche described as many things. Death stick has never been on that list, but I'll add it to it.
Well, it's when the 917 drivers said they needed a compass to find their way back to the track after they went off. It's kind of felt like that sometimes.
Yeah, well, it does look nice as we see Weatherburn improves again, a 23.5, and he will have time for another lap if he still has enough fuel on board. That is not the track, Damiano. This looks like Greco is on for a belter of a lap here. And if you can keep it together, still a lot of corners to go, and there's a lot of time. Need to cut a bit more there. Be careful of invalidating on the exit. 3 more corners to go. All 3 of them are tricky to nail, and that number 12 car is parked there again, this time on the outside. Lost a bit coming through the corner, and he's regained a little bit coming into the final corner now. Hit an apex, he hits a bit too much of an apex, and he loses a bunch of time. That would have been more than enough for pole position. Instead, he's going to end up in P3.
Don't know where it would just P3 to be honest, but yeah, I was gonna say it was like 5 to 6 tenths up would have been cleared pole by 2 tenths. Comes across the line. Tatlian currently no tenths up, no tenths down. See what can he gain. He had a shocking last couple of corners, hopefully on his previous banker, and see what he can gain. There's a good run through Sterling, a 10th made just about ish on the exit. Coming now into Clark Curve, didn't clip the inside like the others. 1/10, 1/10 and a half, maybe 2.
This is gonna be tight. Oh! Look
So
how tight that
close.
top 3 is.
Look at it. Yeah, expressing his absolute disappointment with that. But what a good lap though.
15.
Ash White, yeah. Ash White will take provisional pole if he can hold it together.
Surely. Hold the line, close it down.
And he does take it at the end there with a 1:23.4, and Cameron with the correct prediction. Very nice.
Yeah, well done, Cam.
I take no credit for these drivers.
I mean,
Excellent
Cricky.
lap by White, but it was so close between Carter, Tatlian, and Weberburn.
I mean, I was 6 tenths off, so.
Yeah, but you would have been correct with your original prediction, but now you're wrong. So
yeah, well,
that's
that's okay. I'm used to that.
You didn't
Used
have
to
any
being at
faith
least
at
6
all.
tenths
You
off
said,
and being wrong.
I said a 23.1, so I'm not that far off.
"Oh, sorry, I thought you said 24.8."
Oh no, what? I'm not that much of a dick. I mean, I'm a dick. I'll say that, but geez. Anyway, your top 10 drivers in that qualifying session was Ash White, Nick Tatlian, Jacob Weatherburn, Diogo Greco, Brian Kong, Danny Wu, Damiano Fercolini, and 2 other drivers who shall remain nameless at this point in time. They will be starting from P11 downwards, and then we will have a reverse grid for the race 1 top 10. So time for some more predictions. We do have that reverse grid to play with. We do have David Barker, who is generally very quick on pole. Who are we going to give the chocolates for race 2?
tough, very tough to call.
You took the words right out of my mouth there. Yeah, that's a tough one to call. Like, I mean, obviously Connor's gonna have the pace. You know, like he's not a slouchy boy, but it's such a hard track to overtake at, and he's gonna be in the worst position there. He's gonna be in traffic. He's gonna have people who are a little bit a different pace around him. I mean, he's an experienced customer, but that we've seen that throw off people so many times. So it's tricky to say who this is going to be. I can't see. Can we get a look at the full grid? Because I'm not quite sure without seeing exactly who's in what position.
I'm going to say Cook.
You're betting on the Porsche in a 40-minute race?
It's placing a lot of faith on the Porsche to hold on to its tires and be able to overtake other cars.
Look, I think that applies to half the grid. Not like the McLaren's any easier on its tires, as we've seen. Definitely not in the hands of the drivers.
No, but it does
sideways everywhere.
Yeah.
At least holds onto its rears a little bit.
I would have said, maybe the BMW of Hignett, but he looked like he was maybe just kind of didn't have the pace in the first round. So one down from the leader. That's my logic.
I'm gonna say Vintner for the win.
Vintner's a good shout.
He looked pacey. he finished, I think, P7, so he's not starting too far from the front. And he's always a very pacey boy, as we see there, 2 cars starting
Muller
from pit lane.
and Sean Muller and John Sinikis there.
I think I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be a bit of teammate bias here, but I think I'm gonna go Weatherburn. I want to pick one of these reverse grid starters here. I'm gonna go Weatherburn. He's got this. No bias at all.
Okay, well, I mean, whatever you say, Cricket. We
Oh look, JC in the chat agrees with me. He's got no bias here either.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not affiliated with Yoda at all.
None of them.
Yeah, but no, I think it's, if it was any other, I would have a lot more confidence in Connor or any of those drivers starting sort of P10, P12, somewhere around there, being able to cut through the grid. But I don't know, Brands Hatch is just such a difficult track to overtake on, especially if you don't have a car that has superior straight line speed, because there's not a lot of straights where you can overtake here. So unless the driver ahead makes some mistakes, you struggle to get through. But there we do start. Sorry?
I say, I think straight line speed only helps if you're defending, as we saw with Fleming as well. It's gonna be hard if you got the speed through the corners for the attack. But never say never.
Absolutely, and we can see the final grid for the start of the race. There we do have David Barker, Andre Costa, Luke Johnson, Benjamin Vintner, Moeen Taufik, Brad Palmer, Liam Hamilton, Benjamin Hignett, Brad Cook, Connor Hind, and then Ash White, John Carter, and P12, your top 2 of the Super Quali race. Although I must admit, David Barker is a speedy boy, so he will be very difficult to beat here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I honestly think almost anybody's game at this point, as they all stack up. I love these reverse
I
grids.
think they're on the wrong side. There
Yeah, it
we
doesn't
go.
look like
Yep,
they've
inside
worked
line
out-
for leaders. There we go.
Yep, they're sorting themselves.
This is
Team,
gonna
the
be
race director's pulling his hair out right now.
This is going to be a
Yeah.
delayed start here for race 2. And Ferox, you want to take us away for race 2 in split green?
Sure. As we got Barker followed by Costa from Johnson, Vittner, and Taufik. A very quick top 5, regardless of who's behind it. As we go, green flag is a good jump from Barker. Costa held on the outside, but he looks like he's got the gap on the inside. But nope, as Johnson has got a tighter line. Oh, as there's a banging wheels, that's not very kosher. As they go up the inside, and looks like Costa's held it around the outside. Taufik has been mugged off by Johnson in the BMW, but oh nope, he's come back at him a little bit, and still side by side, a little bit of a wheel bang, and Brad Cook already right there in P6, I believe, as Taufik holds it inside, more banging as well, as it sends Johnson out wide, and it's going to be under the threat from Cook. It's a drag race between the BMW and the Porsche. I know which one I'm backing, the one with the inside line, that's for sure, as well as Hignett right there on the back as well. Sorry, Vintner in the other BMW, followed by sorry, nope, that was Hignett and Vittner, as, oh no, Brad Cook's been left out on the grass, and he's going to lose all, maybe 3 positions to all the BMWs. Very out wide. Chaotic first laps. Not too many yellow flags I'm seeing out there. Oh no, as I've spoken, as Cook's been sent out for more gravel sandwiches out there. And he's gone round the spin to boot right on the entry line. And a collision as well.
That's a big
Oh,
boot.
it's going to end badly, and it has. And
Send all your Fs.
oh dear.
It started poorly and got worse. That was not a good first lap for Brad Cook there for sure.
He had a few helpings onto the grass, and then unfortunately, just as it came back onto the track, I think he got a rear hand bounce with the pendulum of the rear engine Porsche, and as around it went, and it's right in the firing line. People going too wide already at that point, and I don't think they could have done anything to avoid him. He's in the pit lane, not surprising, with a few repairs to do, I imagine.
Yeah, I think they're just giving him the T car, basically. He's stepping. It's going to take them about a week and a half to fix that. But David Barker has gotten a good start. He is still in the lead. Andre Costa only 6 tenths behind him. Luke Johnson, 6 tenths, 4 tenths, I say, behind him. And Moin Taufik, I suspect that Taufik may be looking at a penalty for lap 1. He had quite a few little door bangs there into the hairpin. He's the one who bumped Vintner wide a little bit, and then another one into
30s, I think.
yeah, 30s. So I think he may be looking at a penalty. Hamilton is in a very good position here. He had a very good start to gain a couple of positions, and Hignett also following him through. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race to see whether those first race sort of leaders can cut through the field a little bit.
Vintner was right there with his other 2 BMW compatriots and has dropped down, unfortunately, in the midst of all that calamity. As we look, see, I think, yep, Connor Hind has actually gone ahead of Palmer, who missed that one. I think he got a run down into turn 1, if anything. And yeah, Hind on the charge as well. And it seems like most of the top 3 from the last race have gotten through things without too much, with any trouble. So
I present to you Brad Cook, who finished P3 or P2 in race 1.
Oh yes. Apart from Brad Cook, the suffering of the Porsche. Stop. He's already dead. There's actually out wide on the ground. That's of his own making, to be fair. BMW inside. I think that is Vintner in the 27. Nothing wrong there with that. He was up the inside, made an advantage. And he kind of tried to hold it around the outside, which I think, and has Vintner caught the inside curb and kind of just shoveled him out wide. And, oh no! I think he tried to hit the brakes to arrest the speed and just locked the rears up as he was kind of half gravel, half tarmac, and oh dear. I not to say whether Cook did anything bad, right or wrong, but I think he probably should have just let Vintner take that corner on his own and maybe not try to hold it around the outside, because it was never going to happen. And unfortunately, a small mistake from Vintner kind of just sealed Cook's race in that one.
Yeah, I think Cook was hung out to dry quite a few times, and he's tried to hang it in. It just stopped working, unfortunately. But we see here Liam Hamilton putting a lot of pressure on Taufik. So Connor Hind getting the fastest lap on the previous race, so he is a speedy boy, as we well know, but he is stuck a little bit in traffic now. And what happened to Costa? Costa dropped down to P6 in the previous lap, and Johnson is now P2. So not 100% sure what exactly happened there, but that has allowed Johnson to get into the top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, say Johnson has decided to not pick a set of pad 4s for this race. Just a hunch on that one.
I mean, he still could be playing the game. I mean, you can do a brake change.
Still goes
just
sideways.
Lots of pad 4 changes. I think what I've been seeing here, it looks like Connor playing a nice long game. He's being pretty reserved. He's staying out of trouble. He doesn't seem to be pushing 100%. I mean, I know he's got the fastest lap, but that's not. It's not exactly, breaking any records at the moment. And we can see Costa there has just managed to put him there. I think Connor's playing a pretty long game here, and he knows he's got that 40 minutes to do this. As we see, a big BMW again. One of the advantages of not using your mirrors, you don't see stuff like that to kind of freak you out. But it doesn't look like it's bothered Liam Hamilton all that much. Just getting all up in that grill there. Just friendly BMWs getting on with each other.
I mean, they are, or they have been teammates in the past, so they know each other well enough to know what to expect. But I think Hind is in that sort of unenviable position now, where he's behind Costa, who is also looking quite fast, which is really going to make Hind's job even much harder. And we saw in the first race, Costa was fairly consistent. He hardly made mistakes and stuff like that. So Hind is really going to need to force that mistake out of him by piling the pressure on, which is what Brands Hatch is all about. And Taufik made a little mistake there, going a bit slowly, but he manages to recover nicely and keep going. And that gap between that's quite wide by the BMW there. Johnson and Barker coming down again. It grew a little bit on the previous lap, and it's now coming down again. So Barker not clear yet. He's still under pressure from P2, P3, P4. all right behind him, looking for that win. Connor Hine just there in the background. He is still very much in with a shout of winning this race.
Helping very much under threat here from Liam Hamilton in the 806 BMW. Have to remember it's a 40-minute race. It's very easy to kind of nibble away all your tires in the first 10 minutes, trying to go up, down, left and right of the car ahead, but trying to find a way past. It's not conducive to your tires, and it's so easy to be overly aggressive at this circuit. We'll say it's a very high adrenaline, high speed track, especially through this back section. As Connor Hine looks for a gap on Costa, but the gap was not really there. And, Costa with the fastest lap, so definitely not slow. There's a lot of inside curve right behind, and thankfully didn't go too wide to get dragged out. Definitely playing it. You have to kind of play it risky around here to make the time up. Unfortunately, we haven't seen 695 or Brad Cook to rejoin the race, so that's definitely, I think he's done for this race. I'm surprised to not see him kind of come out, because you got to think about the championships, even though it may seem as lost, but he's got the pace to maybe try and do a fight back, but he probably has a better read on the situation. Fastest lap there for Hignett. It's Hine looking again up the inside of Costa, but it's not really. It's too close and a dollar short, let's say.
I think Brad Cook will probably have been a lap or two down by the time he rejoins, so any kind of fight back would be quite a challenge. John Sonicus there, 23.4 for the fastest lap. He is up into P16 or P18 at the moment, so good recovery from starting from pit lane by choice, I must add. And Taufik here piling the pressure still on Hamilton, piling the pressure onto Taufik. And Benjamin Hignett sort of just sitting there a little bit. He's not really trying to get too involved in this. I think he's, as you were saying about Hind as well, playing that long game, just keeping it a little bit relaxed, waiting for the fireworks ahead of him to kick off. A couple of drivers in that battle that are pretty much renowned for having a lighter at the ready for the fireworks, so I'm sure we will see some. Who?
Barker's dropped back. The gap's kind of really closed down. Oh, he's gone out wide. He's going off. And Johnson, everyone's going past 1, 2, maybe 3. Oh, he tries to close it off, and by goes Hamilton. That's not very nice. And that's got to be a stewarding cry for sure. Oh, he's got to try and squeeze another BMW off, and Hignett's going to have no part of it. And it's going for an undercut, small touch. And unfortunately, Barker is dropped from first to third, and dare say might drop even further with an oncoming penalty. As, I don't think Hamilton had anything wrong there.
Hine got past Costa and Hamilton there, so that's a great lap for Hine there to gain a bunch of positions. 2-second gap up to Hignett ahead, and Costa goes wide there. He is dropping a couple of positions. Yeah, and he goes wide again. Not sure if that was a touch there between him and Vintner, but that is not a very good lap for Andre Costa.
And it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it just all sort of went off there. Lots of it is like that though here at Brands, as we see another.
I did say fireworks, so
yeah,
there you go.
Fireworks definitely still going. Yeah, it is one of the things I noticed at Brands as well. It's because you're following for so long, because it is so difficult to overtake, so you just constantly putting pressure on the driver ahead, and you're just following. As soon as there's a break in some of that tension, as soon as there's a break in some of that speed, it's really easy for people to get all crossed up and forget, oh God, what am I doing? I've been doing the same thing for lap after lap, and now suddenly I've got an opportunity to overtake, and you try and push it. And
another thing is as well. Ooh.
And that's what did it, and unfortunately, he's going to try and cover off, but the BMW was already there.
Barker. Sorry, Barker, that's just sloppy. You got to watch your radar, and you got to watch the car on your inside there. Like Liam's been absolutely trounced by that. That's really unfortunate for Liam.
Pretty poor awareness there, but just to compound onto what you were saying, Cricky, I think the thing with this track, because it's, as we were saying, so intense, and because it's so narrow, as soon as anybody goes offline, that's when things just start sort of kicking off. Because as we saw with Cook as well, you get put offline once, and then there's a car on your inside, and they stay there for a whole sector, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And leads to these sort of unfortunate little situations there. But Hind is already all over the back of Barker here, piling the pressure on. He is up his muffler at the moment, and he's gonna get to know the back of that Ferrari very, very well. Barker keeps it nicely on track here. This is where he made his previous mistake. Does he take it cleaner this time? He's very slow on the entry, and Hind really piling the pressure on, and Hamilton right behind him. He's looking for a little bit of... Will he be able to get through, as we see Taufik get his penalty there for lap 3? So that's not the incident we saw originally.
Lap 3 seems like an age ago with the amount that's going on this race. Car 11 off. That is Tatlien, unfortunately, on the last corner. So we see Connor Hind maybe making a little bit, maybe moves one too many in the last corner, we'll say, covering off Hamilton. Palmer's still right there as well. Douglas King gets a 15-second penalty for a collision on lap 7.
I think that was involving Forrest. Saw both of them at Surtees. Oh, it looks as though David Barker is being very, very aggressive on the defense, and that's not really going to help him. He's going to lose time to the guys ahead, and it's only going to lead to mistakes or incidents. So let's see what happens as they go through this middle sector. He's already on a compromised line. That's going to compromise Hamilton right onto the back of Hind as well.
He's a really unfortunate little sandwich here, isn't he? He's just right between Liam and Barker's slowing him down heaps. Barker's just not got the same level of pace here, but he's just defending. He's trying to hold on this position, and that's just backing Connor up into Liam, into Palmer. It's backing it. It's creating a little bit of a train here. Connor's got to get past. He's got to be aggressive here. Or there's Liam. Liam takes the aggressive approach, goes on the inside, little tap on the pass, but I think play on. That's pretty fair, as Liam takes advantage of Barker backing up Connor so much there, and now Connor's like dropping positions. He's got to fight back. So yeah, it's time to get aggressive.
Yeah, I think Hamilton has a little bit of red mist perhaps there in the cockpit at the moment. He wants to get back at Barker and he wants to get through. Not saying he's going to be a dirty overtake, but he's going to be very aggressive. I think the gloves have well and truly come off, and he certainly has advantage over Barker at the moment. Barker really looks like he's maybe struggling a little bit if he's just feeling the pressure a bit too much, but he's not as quick as these drivers behind him is at the moment, and I think within the next lap or so he'll be back under pressure from who's it? Hamilton, sorry.
As you say that, Hamilton just going a little bit wide, so Connor's catching back up to him. But the person who's really benefiting from all of this is definitely Luke Johnson, who's still right up there in P1 and holding on to it. He's got a reasonably good lead there. You know, he can't take a rest just yet, and hopefully he does have at least pad 2 on, so he can make it to the end of this race. But this battling at the back here and all this kerfuffling that's going on, he's playing really well for Luke Johnson, who's still in the lead of this race.
Well, looking at those gaps between Johnson, Taufik and Hignett, Johnson has much time for relaxing. There's less than half a second between the top 3. So he's certainly feeling the pressure. As we see car 99, I'm not sure who that is. That is Andre Costa. He has come a cropper, and it looks as though car 8 was involved as well. So 2 of the McLarens there on the home straight, getting involved in a bit of an oopsie. Oh, big moment for Hind there.
Just watching Hamilton's behavior, as well as we had the onboard shot of it behind the wheel, and it's just like, just doesn't have the rotation of the other cars, but it does have like the overall pace, and look like it could probably arguably get a little bit, could use a little bit more rotation just in the setup, but still, you know, just calling good lap times, and dare say got a lot more confidence behind the wheel, I think, than Barker. I think Barker's just you know, it's so easy to kind of like, after that first moment, it's so easy to lose your confidence, and then it's all about confidence at this circuit, especially for these fast right-handers. The average speed is so high because of the downforce these cars now produce. You know, Hamilton's all over the back of him, but unfortunately got checked up a little bit, and now it's going to be compromised for Hind. And Hind's left, right, you know, but doesn't really have a run, doesn't have an overlap, and has to play it safe and has to think about, you know, he's P6 right now. It's not a bad position to be in terms of damage limitation, seeing as that you started P10. and it's all about, you know, just scoring those points for that championship bid. You're not going to win every race. You can, it's possible, but you're not going to win every race. I don't think anyone's won an OOR championship by clean sweeping the grid. I'll be happily be called out wrong.
I have actually.
Yeah,
Oh.
Paige has. I've seen it. I was there.
Who asked?
I was there.
Oh, as we see there, Greco gets on the
Oh.
grass. Acosta got on the grass, and then Greco just ran out of space. Let's see if the rejoin is a little bit improved. This cutaway just in time to miss it, but
We'll just imagine that it was.
it was. We didn't see
Lost
more yellow
Johnson's
flags.
dropped
So.
down to P3 as Taufik is now the leader, so it's been an error for Luke Johnson, the 19 McLaren. Oh, it's all happening. The mistakes are crawling in. They were a little bit maybe fatigue in this. Oh, how close can you get Hamilton?
Well, that's it.
As
We're
he goes
noticing-
wide,
Oh,
and a little
bit
bump
of a
as
tap.
well.
That's all right.
He can't go anywhere though. It's just he's still at the inside line as Barker managed to claw it back onto the track. Surprisingly, wasn't sent around as
And he does it again.
He
and
squeezed him
that's
again.
in the wall, and it's done. Oh, there was a tiny overlap, but you still gotta respect it. Oh, as Connor Hine goes through, and Palmer's looking to take advantage. Oh, no, and commiserate. It's got even worse, and there's gotta come back across with thankfully no other repercussions. And there's gonna be some steward inquiries for sure.
It's all gone very, very wrong. And I think the biggest benefactor from all of this is none other than Mr. Benjamin Hignett.
Yeah, it's going well for him up the front there. You know, I mean, he's half a second behind Taufik, but Tafik's got 10 seconds, so he's got to really get a move on if he's going to beat Hignett for the lead. But I reckon Hignett's going to get him for the lead just on track here. But yeah, wow, what a bunch of laps that was. We had Liam Hamilton finally make the move. You know, a bit of a tap, maybe not the way you want to make that overtake, but still, I mean, Barker squeezed him the last time, and you know, he paid the price for it this time, I think. And but yeah, then making the mistake there and taking poor Connor Hind out, whose cockpit must be full of so much red mist at this point. I don't know if they're going to be able to clean it all out of there.
I think it was a very good save by Hind after that little punt. He lucky not to get collected by the other cars coming through. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the worst outcome for Hind. Obviously not ideal, but he only lost 2 free positions, and he's still very much in that fight. There's still 20 minutes to go, so he can regain a couple of positions. And see car 43 there, that's Beaton going quite slowly, coming out of the hairpin. He's running close to Forrester, so I'm not sure if there was maybe an incident with them. But yeah, Hignett here, he's really in the pound seats for winning this race. He does not need to overtake Taufik on track, he just needs to stay close to him. And it looks as though they have the pace to sort of drive away from Johnson a little bit. And Hamilton has a very, very big gap to close to the top 3 if he wants to catch them. And he, of course, has the potential axe hanging over his neck with that penalty coming after a steward review. So quite a few penalties in the top 10 that will impact on the final standings.
Absolutely, and dare say Palmer's like, if he keeps his cards clean, he's looking at a podium as well, despite being in P5. With the penalties applied if they come thick and fast. So, I get you can stay behind, the driver has a penalty, he probably won't go for any ambitious moves, but if Taufik starts holding him up and causing him time for Johnson to catch up and then under attack again, then you have to go for the move, as that's really close, and I think there was a touch as well as they got all squirrely. You gotta leave space, always have to leave it to space. People, as it tries to go around the outside, and that's not going to work out. It was a valiant effort. Go back to Hind.
He is back behind Barker.
Oh no.
As far as Barker, I'd be getting right out of the way here.
Wait, so what happened to Hind? Then got involved in another incident to drop down to P10, because he was just P8 a little bit ago. So I'm wondering if he was involved with somebody else. I was going to say that with all the penalties, because, there we go. There we go. Oh, saves it.
There might be a play on in whatever box that goes to, but doesn't need that. Not at all. And that's a very sorry looking Ferrari, that's for sure.
I mean, is this GT3 or are we watching BTCC here? Because there's a lot of biff and barge going on in this split, and I got to be honest, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you're not a steward, I think.
Yeah, that's agreed. 100%.
It's-
I'm here for the entertainment.
The alcohol budget has gone up quite a lot for Split Green this season already, so it'll be interesting. Barker taking some compromise lines there behind, trying to find a way through, but you know, when this track is so narrow, there's not a lot of to really take alternate lines. But I was just thinking, in terms of the penalties, you know, Taufik is only probably about 14 or 12 seconds ahead of where Connor Hind is now. So Hind could potentially, once Hamilton gets a penalty, if he does, and Barker gets a penalty, which seems likely, he might still gain another 2 or 3 positions just based on the penalties ahead of him.
Funny when you make comments like that. The penalty bar comes up immediately as soon as you finish your sentence. Not in this case, but I think there will be a few penalties coming in the past. The speed that Connor takes is so much higher than some of the drivers around it. Not surprising with the lap times he was producing, but you can't speed your way past someone else. You can't phase through somebody.
I just noticed something. Connor Hind's team name is Crash Team Racing. Quite applicable today. Oh, that's wide by Barker. He's not going to hold on to that, is he? And that's going to allow Hind to get through.
Leave the space.
You see John Sonicus on track in P11 just behind him. And less than 2 seconds behind this battle. He's had some incidents with Barker in the past, so I'm sure he's looking forward to what is about to happen in the last 15 minutes of this race. As we see John Rad there get a 15-second collision on lap 5.
Forster's team. Oh, so much to sift through, but hopefully for Sneakers.
Oh!
Barker's all over the place, losing a bit of composure to, let's say, and it's going out to Palmer. But yeah, Sneakers, as we saw from Fleming in the first race, there's a bit of grunt behind that thing, so hopefully can get them on a nice straight, if possible, with a good run.
Yeah, Hignett still all over the back of Taufik, and Johnson dropping off a little bit, 3.6 seconds. Hamilton has closed that gap to Johnson to 2.7 now. It was up to 4.3 or 4.8 before. So gap slowly coming down, and Hignett is past Taufik now on track. It must have been a bit of a battle there because Johnson is closer than he was. But Hignett, I think he's pretty much, if he can race, he will have won this race if he doesn't make any mistakes.
They just made a blue flag car. It might have had something to do with that, fortunately. With 471.
Yeah, see Douglas Keane there just behind them, so maybe he was getting out of the way and Taufik got affected or whatever happened. But in any case, Taufik does not use the track there. He goes off, and Hignett is now in the lead. Moulton less than 2 seconds behind Johnson. Palmer not too far from him. Vintner, Weatherburn not too far behind them. So there's still quite a lot that can change in this top 10 in the final 14 minutes or so of this race.
Yep, Weatherburn's still in it to win it. P7, he's getting up there. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot. It's hard to call. There's still the gaps have at least things seem to be slightly calming down now. Connor's pace definitely seems to have dropped off a bit. I wonder if he's just cooked his rear tires too much, as we see. Yep, people just classic Brands Hatch things, just going a bit wide. You know,
Just saw.
fine balance.
Sorry to interrupt, but I saw the gap between Sonicus and Barker was less than a tenth, and it's now 1.5. So I'm assuming. I don't want to make any rash assumptions, but I think there may have been an incident.
Nah, no it didn't. Just clean racing.
Have you met Split Green?
Yeah.
Yeah, so far.
If anything, it's been a bit more hectic, even than in comparison to Split Yellow, just alone on this one.
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's not many Ferrari drivers here, which usually are the bane of the bad driving. I said it.
getting confirmation that it was a skill issue, in fact, for John, not an incident, so that is good news. But he
Already
is
down
right
to 4
back up.
tenths.
Yeah, he's back on Barker now, so that battle will continue now. Weatherben right on Vintner here, so battles all across the pack. Taufik still slightly holding on to Hignett, but he did drop a little bit back now. And Hamilton a second behind Johnson now, so that battle for the on-track podium will commence soon as well.
Quiet race from Weatherben. He's been a bit under the radar, no real mistakes, kind of just doing his own thing. Same with Vintner somewhat as well. And kind of just, what was that? The blue flag car just goes a little bit wide there, gives a nice scare to the cars behind. But yes, all kind of just doing your own pace. I think you can be really rewarded by driving within your limits and not throwing things off here. It's very easy to kind of just over commit. Unfortunately, go for a small pirouette or off, and then it's all goodbye from there. Unfortunately for Taufik, that 10-second penalty is like, because of how tight it is still, it's really going to send him all the way back down to maybe just about P10.
Yeah.
Around that area he's looking at.
And the thing is, I
That's
think
why.
Carter and Hind are also maybe catching up a little bit, and John, if he can get past Barker, he'll start closing the gap as well. So yeah, 10-second penalty can prove very costly in a field this tight. That's a warning for Vintner, surely. I mean, he was just he nearly went the wrong way on the home straight there. He was so far off track. But yeah, Yoda piling the pressure on. It looks as though Carter has just started dropping off a little bit. Here we see Sonicus, his livery hasn't loaded in completely, but he is right on the back of Barker. And it's battle version number 2, Boogaloo. Let's see who can come out on top this time around.
Some blue traffic up ahead, just to add a little bit of space to add to this. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, and they're catching them at a perfect part of the track where you definitely don't need to commit or be on the limits.
I think
Luckily,
there's a good part of the track anywhere for blue flags.
that is true. Yeah,
Oh,
Actually-
God.
John's got a lot. John's like really solid here. He's looks so much more confident than Barker ahead. Like he's got that car set up beautifully. That was just gliding through the air. I mean, I know the Bentley is obviously helping with that. It's inherently, being a front engine car and being just its dynamics in general, especially around this track. But that car just looks so much more stable. It looks like he's pushing it, but it doesn't feel like he's pushing it as hard as Barker is ahead. Money's on John here.
in fairness, he also hasn't been in a wall quite as hard as Barker has this race. So I think that may be affecting the dynamics of the Ferrari ever so slightly.
Bentley would just brush all that down.
That's also fair. That's also fair. The Bentley would damage the wall.
Yeah.
And we have this blue flag here. Hopefully he can get out of the way efficiently as they come down into the second sector. He is not getting out of the way. That is very poor blue flag management. Really should be getting out of the way ages ago now.
No. Oh,
And that is what
we
happens.
saw it happening, didn't we?
That is what happens when a blue flag has no awareness. That is really, really poor driving by Forrester there. And Sonicus and Barker going side by side there through Sheen, I think is the name of the corner. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Still can't get through. And then
crash for good measure.
yeah, good job, Forrester.
Yeah. Not well. It was caught on camera in 4K, 60 FPS. Like and subscribe for that. What I'm really just speechless, if anything. We saw it how it was kind of like a premonition that we saw that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's certain drivers that are involved in endurance races as well, so they have a bit of reputation for blue flag behavior, and fortunately it came to fruition there. But Liam Hamilton has caught up with Luke Johnson here, putting the pressure on him. We saw Luke Johnson make a couple of mistakes in race 1. To be fair, he was on brakes 4, so that may have compounded the problems. But let's see if if Hamilton here can force another mistake out of Johnson and get onto the podium on track.
They built a big gap between Johnson and Taufik. It's 6.3 seconds, so looking good for Taufik if he want Johnson to hold all these guys up for as much as possible at this rate.
Yeah, no, Johnson is Taufik's best friend at this stage, given the pace he's running. So it's allowing the top two to run away a little bit. Let's see how much the gap has grown in the final sector there. Goes across the line, and it is 6.5, so 2/10 in the final sector. Yeah, so Hamilton, oof, big moment again for Johnson there. Will Hamilton go up the inside? He certainly does. Gonna get it slowed down. Little cut back there from Johnson, but Hamilton will get a strong exit, and he'll have the inside line for the left-hander, and that should be the move done. That's going to put the pressure on Johnson from Palmer now. Gets a big old slide, but I think Palmer had to check up a little bit there and just couldn't quite get the run that he was setting up. And that is Hamilton through now. Now let's see if Palmer can get anything on Johnson.
Yeah,
Really interesting here. We haven't seen any of those penalties that we've been expecting for Hamilton or Barker. You know, we were expecting at least some penalties there for some of the incidents we've seen. So it's interesting they haven't gotten to those yet because you know it's getting pretty late in the race now. We've only got 6 minutes to go. There's not many laps left. So
there we
yes, I did it. I managed to do it. Well done. There we go. So there we go.
So
It's a
that's lap
10-second
10.
penalty.
So that'll be the first one,
Yep.
the initial one with Hamilton, if I had to guess. So there may be some more coming. He goes very wide again there. Oh, this is not going to work. You do not want to be
out of it.
Oh,
He's backed out of it.
Okay.
Oh,
So that'll-
car off.
Whoop.
Had good measure.
That is
Barker's
Douglas
using
Key.
life there.
Yeah, that was one of his smarter decisions so far this race. So John will be happy to get through. I don't think he's really out of catching anybody ahead necessarily. Not sure how big the gap is, but it looks as though it is fairly big. So 8 seconds, 5 minutes remaining. Don't think that's going to happen. Brad Palmer behind Weatherburn. Now, how did that happen? Weatherburn got through on Palmer then.
Yeah, Palmer was on the back of Johnson after Hamilton got through, and quite a way back as well. So maybe it's been a mistake from Palmer.
We've seen quite a few of those so far. Taufik within a second of Ignat again as well, so he's really not letting him go.
Yeah, he's been like kind of latched onto there, so that's how getting pulled away from whatever he's pace doing on pace as well. And you're looking good because you called Hignett for the start, and he was a. Oh no, did you call Vince? I can't remember. I
No,
called
I called-
Cook, and I got it really wrong. And that's as far as I. Go.
I called Hignett.
Look,
race
he's still
one,
in the.
so
He's still in the server.
He's in with a chance.
he's still in with a chance.
I mean, there's varying degrees of wrong, but I
First you
think
have to
you're
finish.
the wrongest, I would say. Now, I called Vintiner, so I'm also very, very wrong. But
I called Weatherburn.
Oh.
He's P5. Whoa, that was a car off just on the right there. Cool. Can't park there.
Waiting on the exit.
the thing is now, with all of this sort of scuff that's gone on in the top 10, the penalty for Taufik has become a lot less painful than it was 10 minutes ago. Whoa, Brad!
Ooh.
Okay,
Oh
can't
dear,
park
poor
there, sir.
Sims.
Stop.
Oh, okay, that was a risky rejoin, but he got out of the way quick enough. That was a weird one.
That was quite late there for it to go as well. I wonder how far he's got the rear bias set to, because that was quite a late saying. If he was going, it didn't even look like he was going that deep into the corner. He just
It's a
slewed
Porsche.
round like he didn't have rear grip.
It's a Porsche and a 40-minute race. What? I mean, it's going to happen.
Yes, and I moved away from it only to go to another car which is equally bad, probably on tyres and with weight.
Car
I
number 8.
regret my choices. It's Greco as not having a great race, we'll say.
No. Taufik, yeah, putting the pressure on Rick. If Ignat has just run out of tires a little bit or something, maybe Taufik held on to them a little bit better. Or maybe Ignat just knows he has that penalty and the gap to Hamilton is quite large, so he doesn't have to really be pushing. But yeah, just a strange one here in terms of the pace. And there we see Greco finally return to pit. I think he's had enough He has left the server already as well, so that is a proper rage quit. And yeah, we have Ignat coming into middle sector now, 2 minutes 50 remaining, so we'll have 2 more laps, I would say. Maybe
Did
3.
Vintner always have damage? Vintner's bonnet's up.
Yeah, it does look a bit worse than before, but he did get a bit of damage with all of the chaos that was happening at the sort of the beginning of the race there. So it could be one of those just ACC overdoing the damage on the model things. But he does look a little bit slow. So maybe there was something. Maybe you're on something there, Cam. Maybe he has had another off or just a little encounter with another car or the wall or something like that. But you would have thought he'd lose a little bit more position-wise if that had happened, but we'll see.
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember where he was before. Wasn't he on the... Yeah, I swear he was on the back. He was close. He wasn't near these 2 cars. He was close to someone else.
He was,
I'm
I
not-
mean, he was in the battle with Hind and them, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
if he just dropped off a little. Poor run there for Carter. He's under pressure from Palmer. Palmer in a position where he doesn't really want to be braking too late, as we saw a little bit earlier. And he keeps going. He's going to try and poke a nose up the inside. Carter did not close the door efficiently there, and that's going to allow Palmer up the inside, side by side into turn 1, trying the old switcheroo. It's not really a corner where it works very well. That is the move done by Palmer. He has regained 1 position after that earlier mistake there.
Is that Ben Vintner's pace is not too hot as well, like right now. So I think he's done. Could be wrong, but I think he's had a moment out there. There's a big enough moment to cause a bonnet up damage, that's for sure.
Definitely struggling at the moment, but as it stands, it looks as though Taufik will only drop down to about P5, I think, once the penalties are served.
It's really
So-
spaced out in the last 10, 20, 15 minutes, to be honest. Because it was a really tight top 10 of it until then.
Yeah, no, Vintinen really is struggling a lot here. You see how much, or how quickly Palmer just closes right out onto the back. And interesting to see if he can get anything done. Hignett crosses the line. That is the beginning of the final lap. Taufik is just behind him, and a couple of drivers behind him. Hamilton dropped off a bit from the lead too as well. The gap has grown a bit. So can Palmer do anything on the final lap of this race to get past Vintiner?
You've got to imagine all these, that sort of
The
top 10
bonnet's
group,
down now.
a lot of them
Sorry.
are going to have pretty damaged tyres by this point, especially with the amount of, battling, swerving, a couple of them spinning. Maybe we're seeing these sort of bigger gaps eke out just because everybody...
Oh, no.
no, Palmer, that's not the way to do it, as he boops him there. And it looks like... Looks like, yeah, he has lost that
Very
position there.
wily from Carter there.
Is he gonna try and do something to get past Vintiner there? Vintiner leaves the door semi-open, but not quite enough. Gets a poor run out of there down onto the little back straight here, but I think the BMW still, even with the damage, does have the legs on the McLaren. But he is very much struggling in the high-speed stuff, so will a mistake from Vintiner. We are not going to see that right at this stage, as we see Benjamin Ignat come around the final corner. He will take the win on track. Great race from him. He's followed closely by Taufik, who does have that 10-second penalty to service. It's going to cost him a few positions. Palmer still under pressure, or putting pressure on Carter here. And Liam Hamilton crosses the line in P3. Luke Johnson in P4. Jacob Weatherburn P5. Connor Hind 6. Decent recovery from him there. And these guys cross the line almost side by side there. Vintiner, Carter, Palmer. Sonicus from the pit lane up into P10 with a fastest lap point as well. He'll be happy with that recovery.
A really good recovery there from Sonicus.
Oh, Datlian.
Okay.
Okay.
Pick that stage right. That's
Then-
not the lap you need to be doing that.
Yeah.
You need to do that after you cross the line.
I wonder what happened here. He sort of... He's just done this on his own? Just gassed it up too much? Yeah.
That's
There's a boot.
clumsy.
Yeah, I mean, he had enough space on the inside there, just had that little bit of a moment and then tapped him. And it did cost him only 1 position, so not the end of the world there. And Dan Foxtrot, does he have enough fuel this time around? He's still on the throttle, so it appears as though he has nailed it this time. It must be
Drank
nice.
his supply away.
Must be nice to accelerate across the line in car.
As Graham Forrester wraps up, and only Brad Cook, who has not crossed the line for obvious reasons. But,
So he
well done for
technically,
Ignat.
You can still win it.
Cook still finished the race first. Oh, there we see Liam Hamilton get a 15-second penalty right at the death there.
Off
that
the
is-
podium for you.
That is going to drop him down to about P6, I would say, maybe around there. So that's going to allow up into P4, as we see Vintiner and a couple of penalties ahead there. So yeah, good recovery for Hind at the end there. And again,
And electing to go forwards on this lap, or maybe not.
we shall wait on the whims of Mr. Ignat here to finish the. There we go. Has he stopped? Is he returning
This
to
is the
garage?
time that you have to use that engine gearbox the rest of the season.
And the rear tires.
And the rear tires. So that looking like Johnson's going to be P2, followed by Connor Hind, who had a tumultuous race, but a P3, I believe,
Nope.
at the end of that.
Johnson won't be P2. Look at the gap between him and Taufik.
Oh, very true there. Mass.
Have to wait and see the
I've
results,
done
'cause
two commentaries back to backs. Mass is not my strong point. Not that it was anyway.
There's been a few people obviously leave the server as well,
Yeah.
so
Are you
we'll
going to
have
trust the
wait.
timing board? Really? Would you ever trust the timing board?
Green light, go, go, go.
There we
But
go.
we shall
Octane Online Racing's shared games are now available for family.
Oh, it's
Woo!
gone.
And we will get a confirmation here on the final results for race 2. Benjamin Ignat does take the win. Taufik holds on with half a second gap there to Luke Johnson in P3, up into P4. Connor Hind ends up in P5. Hamilton drops down to P6 with that penalty. John Carter P7. Brad Palmer and John Sonicus gets up into P9 there with Ash White up into P10. I guess the final question remaining is your driver of the day for Split Green.
It's a tough one. I think it has to be Hignett. I know it's obvious, but I think it's Hignett. He stayed out of trouble in both races. Got solid results in both of them, so yeah, he'd have to be my driver of the day.
Sneak is running the Bentley.
Oh, that must be really painful for you to say that, though.
He's my favourite one.
Hey! Anyway, that will do it for Split Green here in the Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. We will be live again tomorrow for Split Blue and Split Red, so it will certainly be some more exciting racing.
Definitely. Very keen to see the splits tomorrow night.
And that is going to be a wrap then. We shall see you tomorrow. Have a good evening, everybody.
And have a lovely Anzac Day.